Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Margaret, Elizabeth and Lavenza? Part 1. Huge shout out to our Zero Tatsid for this story. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Butterfly changes the scene. Kanahigaku no Sato, village hidden in the leaves, 5 years after the fox attack. We find young Naruto in his filthy apartment given by his grandfather figure, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Young Naruto is sleeping in his lumpy bed, tossing and turning, and starts to breathing heavily. What no one realizes that he is in the middle of a dream that will change his life for the better. Naruto soon finds himself flying through a strange endless black void while finding himself maneuvering away from miscellaneous objects flying towards him. As he flies through the endless void, he finds himself landing on a gazebo with a checkered floor surrounded by marble pillars. He looks around to search his surroundings until he hears a booming voice behind him. "Greetings, young one, I find your trip interesting, eh?" said the loud voice. Naruto quickly turns around to find a strange man with a mask covering his entire face along with a white suit and long black ponytail. Naruto is scared by the strangely dressed man, slowly moves away from the stranger. He turns his head in curiosity. "It's best to introduce ourselves. My name is Philemon. I live in a realm of consciousness and unconsciousness, so tell me, who are you?" asked the man now introduced Philemon. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, sir," said Naruto with a hint of nervousness in his voice. "Well then, Naruto, before we move on, I would like you answer some important questions, if you do not mind my asking?" asked Philemon. "Sure, what are they?" asked Naruto curiously. "Young Naruto Uzumaki, what is it that you wish for in life?" Naruto thought about it, and remembered the one thing he always wanted. "I want to become Hokage so everyone can accept me, believe it," he answered in a prideful tone. Nodding his head, Philemon continues, "Yes, now why do you wish to become Hokage? It's an important and high-ranking position, is it not?" he asked. Naruto yet again answered with happiness in his voice, "By becoming the best ninja there is, even better than the 4th Hokage and Sarutobi Gigi." Philemon held in his chuckle. "Now Naruto, being a ninja means fighting, right?" "Of course, Philemon-san." "Yes, but when the time comes, why do you fight?" "To become Hokage, believe it." "Yes, I believe it, but I meant, why drives you to be Hokage? Fame? Fortune? Egotism?" Naruto became confused. He always thought about becoming Hokage, but now the man made his dreams seem selfish and pointless. "Now Naruto, I'm not saying you shouldn't become Hokage, but I want to know, what is it that drives you? What do you need to do be a good ninja? Better yet, the best ninja?" Philemon asked, giving Naruto a better understanding. "I know now, to fight for others, to fight for what you believe in, to fight for those who can't fight for themselves and those who matter to you like. Naruto was lost at this point. "Like someone close or precious to you, maybe?" "Yet to protect my precious people. And soon people will accept me and I'll have more precious people to fight for," said Naruto, who soon began to awaken to his epiphany. Philemon smiled behind his mask and placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Splendid, not many can come here as pure of heart as you, young Naruto. You have passed the first test now then. By the way, have you noticed that you have more than one you in yourself? Perhaps the merciful you, the graceful angel you, or the demonic cruel you. We live behind many masks. You may be wearing one now, but you claimed your name. Not only that, but you have shown me your pure heart, and were given a new drive to achieve your dreams. I admire your will and bestow my power onto you," Philemon explained as he summoned what appeared to be a strange statue made of crystal on the palm of his hand. "What is it, Philemon-san, and how is it your power?" asked an excited yet curious Naruto. "This is a persona, the power to call on others within you, sometimes merciful, sometimes cruel. This power will help you in your quest into the future. You will awaken to it when the time is right or most dire. Go back to your world now, young one. The world locked between time and space. Philemon said as he gave the statue to Naruto and created a door out of nowhere. Naruto smiled at the statue and waved goodbye. Although this would not be the last time he would see Philemon, at least not until it was time to leave the Leaf Village for good. 8 years later, 13 years after Fox attack. As time went on, Philemon had to erase Naruto's memory of his realm until the time for him to awaken to his power. Philemon believed that Naruto would be some of the few in the past who would risk everything to fight for their cause. Since Naoya to up to Amamiya, there have been few who had this power and fought along with their friends for what they believed was right. Now we have Naruto Uzumaki, or as the Hokage had been untruthful, Naruto Namikaze. Yes, Philemon has not only been watching young Naruto but other people around the village as well. How else did he know about the Hokage's level of importance among the villagers? Since Philemon is not what some describe as human, he did not have chakra, nor did he fear the idea of being spotted by the Umbu or any other ninja around the village. Especially when he watches over Naruto in his butterfly form. Over the years he saw Naruto face hardships throughout his life such as seclusion, lack of teaching during the academy, and even constant scolding from his peers. It was not a pretty sight, but over the years Naruto overcame these obstacles and would show greatness despite what others say. He saved his teacher, Irika Yumino, and defeated Nezuki before stealing the Forbidden Scroll. He survived the Bell test along with D-rank missions. Philemon, however, contemplated the fact that these people were too lazy to handle their own chores. Why is it a ninja's business, nay a ninja's duty and requirement, to complete ordinary tasks that civilians refuse to do on their own? So catching a cat, walking dogs, and gardening is required to be completed before doing something meaningful like protecting someone from being robbed by highwaymen? These questions would forever roam, never be answered by Philemon's centuries of knowledge of the human race. Then came the day when the mission to Wave Country came. Naruto would soon be remembered as hero for inspiring a poor town to rise up against Gato, a greedy criminal, from terrorizing them any further. He held his own against Haku, Zabuza's apprentice, who reminded Naruto the meaning of fighting for those who are precious to you. Eventually Naruto got through to Zabuza before he passed away, as he killed Gato along with several of his hired bandits. The Great Naruto Bridge was finished a week later. Afterwards the Chunin exams came. Naruto, along with his teammates Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha, survived a strange written test meant to scare them from passing. Then a man named Orochimaru, an S-class missing nin, attacked the trio and gave his curse mark to Sasuke to convince him to seek out Orochimaru for the sake of power. Naruto soon defeated Kiba Inuzuka in the preliminaries and was to soon face Neji Hyuga, who nearly killed his cousin Hinata for being a main branch member, and blaming her for his father's death. Kakashi Hatake, Naruto's sensei, refused to train Naruto, forsaking him by playing favorites with his other student Sasuke. Naruto was later trained by Jiraiya the Toad Sage until his finals came up, not that he was taught much other than summoning and chakra control. The finals came and Naruto tapped into the fox's chakra to defeat Neji, and convinced him why his views on fate were wrong, and why Hinata was innocent. Soon after, Gaara of the Sand, a genin from the Sand Village, tapped into his one-tailed beast form, Shikaku. Sasuke and Sakura were unable to defeat Gaara, but Naruto summons Gamabunta, the boss toad summon, and was able to snap Gaara out of his tailed beast form. In the end, he taught Gaara about how they are the same, and what Gaara was doing is wrong. Philemon could almost shed a tear at how much Naruto had matured since that meeting. However, things became grim when Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, died in his battle against his former student, Orochimaru. That day Naruto noticed the butterfly on his shoulder, and soon smiled for some reason he didn't understand. Soon enough Jiraiya took Naruto on a trip with him to find his old teammate, Tsunade Senju, so she could become the fifth Hokage. Along the trip, Jiraiya had begun to teach Naruto the fourth Hokage's signature jutsu, the Rasengan, a rotating sphere of chakra. Although Jiraiya would give the bare minimum of help when it came to helping Naruto understand this technique. While the self-acclaimed super pervert spent his time and his money on women and alcohol. This, however, made things worse when he abandoned Naruto, who was almost captured by Kisame Hashigaki and Itachi Uchiha, members of a group composed of S-rank missing nin. The Akatsuki, as they were called, tried to capture Naruto for his tailed beast. At least in the end, Jiraiya made it back just in time to scare away the duo from taking Naruto. By the time the master and student arrived in Tanzaku town, they managed to find Tsunade and her apprentice Shizune, who for some strange reason was carrying around a pig in a dress. Long story short, Tsunade refused to return and refused to become Hokage, calling it a fool's job, got into a fight with Naruto, mocked him, made a bet. Shizune told a sob story about her uncle Dan, who was Tsunade's lover, and Nawaki Senju, who was her brother that died wanting to become Hokage. Naruto waves it off until the bet's deadline came, and it turns out that Tsunade poisoned Jiraiya's chakra coils and knocked out Shizune to meet up with Orochimaru. Another summary: Tsunade is afraid of blood and that almost got her killed, but Naruto saved her by using a Rasengan on Kabuto, knocking him out. Jiraiya summons Gamabunta to fight Manda while he takes on Orochimaru, who flees away. Tsunade admires Naruto for reminding her of her lover and brother, and returns to the leaf to become the 5th Hokage. In the next couple of months, Naruto saves the people of the Hidden Waterfall village and helps Shibuki become a proper leader. Afterwards he saved the land of snow from Doto Kazuhana's tyranny, and inspires Quirky Kazuhana to become the new daimyo of what is now called the Land of Spring. Soon enough people in Tea Country cheered as Naruto helped Idate Marino cross the finish line in the annual race and free the people from tyrannical mobsters. Although in the end, the only person seething was none other than the so-called elite, Sasuke Uchiha. After a brief scuffle with his teammate, Sasuke abandons Konoha for the sake of gaining power to not only kill his brother Itachi, but to be stronger than the dead last, Naruto Uzumaki. Thus causing Tsunade to send Shikamaru Nara, the only Chunin in his graduating class, to lead a genin team to retrieve Sasuke against a group of 5 elite agents from Odogekure. Niji Hyugie and Choji Akimichi were heavily wounded. Kiba Inuzuka wasn't as bad as his Niken, Akamaru, but was saved by Kankuro from Suna. Temari also saved Shikamaru, who wasn't injured aside from broken fingers. Finally there was Gaara, who teamed up with Rock Lee, who happened to show up and defeat a strange swordsman named Kimimaro Kagaya. As for Sasuke, he and Naruto clashed over and over, with Sasuke relying on his curse mark level 2 while Naruto entered his first tail of his chakra cloak. Regardless of who won, only one would be heavily battered. Rasengan! Chidori! Sasuke! Naruto! Those watching would only notice the bright light created by both jutsus. Even one who disguised himself as a butterfly as this battle raged on. Several hours later, Philemon appeared in an infinite space where there only sat a man laying his chin on top of his hands. This man was bald with white hair hanging on the back of his head with 2 large eyebrows and a distinguishable long nose. He wore a black suit with a bolo-like tie and white gloves. Despite his evil-looking appearance, one would believe seeing his unchanging smirk, he was nothing more than a servant to Philemon. Master Philemon, what brings you to my space? As you can see, I have not set a contract with anyone just yet, said the long-nosed man. Igor, it's been a long time, old friend. After looking over humanity myself, I have found someone for you to create another contract within another timeline. Unlike the modern day of Japan, we are heading to a world of ninjas and samurai where a child with great power will rise up and grow strong. Philemon explained, getting a nod. Another contract to be completed within a year, I assume? Igor asked, pulling out a document and stamp. Philemon put his hand on his chin. No, a year is too little. Pardon me? Philemon asked. This one is different, as his goals will make a greater impact than the previous Persona users. He will be the balance between life and death, good and evil, up and down. I request you summon all of your servants, as this task will be much more difficult than it previously has been before. Philemon explained. Very well, do you have a way for me to see young Naruto? Uzumaki Namikaze is his full name. Well then, do you have a way for me to see the life of young Naruto? Trisha came in with a weird hairstyle and took the television to torture poor Vincent again. I have this crystal ball which you could use, he said, placing it down and connecting an antenna to it, revealing Naruto's life. Oh my, a rather unfitting fate for a supposed hero. I may see some potential in this boy. Regardless, are you sure that his journey will be longer than a year? The last 3 saved humanity from various demigods and were fine within a matter of a year, Igor stated. I'm sure, leave the end date at TBD until I say otherwise. Igor nodded and started filing the contract. I will be meeting with him first. You prepare a gate to the Velvet Room. You know the procedure, Igor. I will see you in the future when the time is right, Philemon explained before disappearing as a butterfly. Rather strange. I wonder what it is that preoccupies the mind of my creator to meet the next user personally. It's been a while and we haven't broken protocol in a while, Igor said to himself as he watched through the crystal ball only for the satellite to short circuit. This is rather unexpected. Hopefully I can get Trisha to give back the television if I cannot fix this, he said, trying to readjust the antenna. Back with Naruto. Naruto awakened to find himself in a bed staring at the top at what appears to be a wooden ceiling of some kind. As he moved his head around, his head began to throb as he could find himself not in a hospital, but in strange space where the sky was black and the floor was shaped as if it were a checkerboard. Hello, Naruto. Naruto turned his head to see a man in a mask with a white suit standing over him. Do you remember who I am? He asked. Philemon, Naruto answered as if it were common knowledge. Good, you do remember. Naruto, I brought you here to tell you something important, Philemon said, turning serious. What is it? Naruto asked. Philemon placed his hand over Naruto's head, revealing all the information he had obtained of the boy, including the truth, Hiruzen's attempts to protect the boy, his godparents neglecting him and withholding his inheritance, and most importantly, his parents. Kakashi returned him and Naruto only for the ANBU to escort Naruto, while Kakashi personally took Sasuke to the hospital. Sakura and the rest of the village had also attempted to attack him, while he was down only for Tsunade to declare temporary martial law to prevent it. Naruto was shocked by the truths and wasn't sure how to feel. Naruto, there is something else I need you to do. I will lead you to your father's estate. It was behind the monument, and can only be opened by the blood of a relative. I need you to go there and grab everything your parents did not nail to the ground. Bank documents, techniques, weapons, heirlooms, everything, Philemon said. Including the machine that nails things to the ground? It's likely not nailed to the ground since you need to move it. Naruto chuckled. Philemon remained silent and stared at the boy, making him nervous. That's an okay joke, I suppose. However, I recommend you take everything, including the machine, if it exists, he said, continuing to use his urgent tone. Why do you want me to take everything? I get that a lot of that stuff is mine, but wouldn't it be suspicious even if I confront Granny and Pervy Sage about it? What if they try to deny everything and lock away my inheritance? Naruto asked. Naruto, listen carefully to what I am going to tell you. Naruto leaned in to listen. You need to leave the village, Philemon whispered into his ear. What? Why? Naruto panicked. Naruto, they are planning your downfall. I cannot explain too much for now. I will now awaken you and lead you to your father's, rather your estate, as it belongs to you now, Philemon stated. Naruto nodded before being embraced by darkness, followed by a bright light, making him open his eyes to the sight of a hospital room at night. He looked and noticed several A and B were knocked out on the floor. Knowing this was the chance Philemon gave him, he quickly grabbed his clothes and prepared to jump out the window when a blue butterfly started circling around his face before landing on his shoulder. Taking a moment to study the insect before realizing he's seen it a few times before, including during the old man's funeral. Do you remember my name? He heard a voice ask as the butterfly began to fly again. Take me to my real home, Philemon, Naruto said, following the butterfly. Meanwhile, the real Philemon stood atop of a water tower. Good, while my other half leads him to the estates, I will be attending a meeting myself, Philemon said to himself before heading towards the Hokage Tower. Council Room. The council was in full session and Philemon had quickly gone through everything pertaining to Naruto's heritage. Birth certificate, wills of his parents and anything else of use. Having stayed over a decade in this dimension, Philemon knew exactly what to do once Naruto receives everything. All that was left was to see the outcome of what they planned to do with him. Taking the form of a butterfly again, Philemon spied on the meeting. Seeing as he lost control and according to the testimony of Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki is to be punished for attacking and nearly killing a clan heir. Tsunade said impassively, feeling as if she was doing justice. He will be sentenced to blood prison for the next 2 decades of his life and will be stripped as a shinobi and used properly as the village's Jinchuriki. And before anyone could cheer, someone spoke up. Or better yet, I take him out of the village along with his properties, titles, wills, and anything likely incriminating against the village. Everyone started looking around as to who said that. Who said that? Asked a civilian. I did. Everyone turned their heads to a blue butterfly floating on to the open center of the U-shaped table which they used before the butterfly turned into the shape of a man in a white suit wearing a mask. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Philemon, from the realm of consciousness and unconsciousness, he said. Umbu! Tsunade yelled. Dormina! Philemon cried out, making all the ANBU pass out from exhaustion before they landed. Let us not be hasty. I'm sure had one of your predecessors been here, they would have talked things out and be-pies the threat level of the person they would have spoken to. Perhaps this became a fool's job once Hiruzen Sarutobi passed away, Philemon said, making Tsunade grow a tick mark. Philemon started to sweat drop at the random chatters of the civilians and shinobis, either demanding respect or demanding his surrender. He had an idea of where his next trip would take place, so no soul would ever be tortured by this kind of stupidity. His thoughts stopped as he shoved his leg backwards and reached for the back of him, grabbing someone's hair and tossing his would-be attacker into the wall. You wonder why all 3 of you were a failure in his eyes, Philemon said to his attacker, who turned out to be Jiraiya. You have a lot of nerve breaking into a private meeting and thinking you can challenge a Sannin with decades of experience, no less, Jiraiya said, forming a Rasengan in his palm. Decades? Young man, I have lived since the dawn of humanity, watching over its pluses and failures, judging every action humanity has taken as a whole, and you assume all the strength you gathered from prostitutes and alcohol would be enough to defeat me? Philemon asked, dodging Jiraiya's attack and grabbing his arm, followed by a punch into his elbow, making him howl in pain. Nara, do not think about using that technique on me. It has a limit, and I can snap it like I can snap you, he said, bending down and grabbing the shadow used in the Nara clan's possession jutsu. How did you? Shikaku trailed off before falling on his back in pain as the shadow was snapped in half like a twig. I would recommend the rest of you stay seated, as your attacks would put you and others in more danger if you haven't realized you are in a closed space, Philemon said, making the shinobi side stand down. Good, all I wanted to do is let you know about my plan involving Naruto Uzumaki. His sweat dropped more as there were calls for him to die or be imprisoned. This ignorance is the exact reason I will be taking him with me, but not without these, he said, waving several documents around. 2 of which are the wills of his parents who died during the 9-tailed fox attack, and another a message from Hiruzen Sarutobi from beyond the grave. Would anyone like me to disclose of these documents? He asked. Those are classified documents. You have no right revealing them to anyone, Tsunade yelled, slamming her desk. You see, dearie, you forget that you are no longer in control. You are not a princess, you are not a war hero, you are a failure, a disgrace, and a coward. These documents will see proof of that. Now, who else wishes to interrupt me? Philemon asked. Several shinobi were ready to take their chance, but stood back seeing Shikaku signal them to stand down. He may have been king of the sloths, but they were genius sloths. If there wasn't a reason to fight, he would be that reason. Very good, now let us start with the 3rd Hokage's letter. As you know, I am very good with voices, Philemon boasted before clearing his voice. How do I sound? He asked in a voice identical to the late 3rd. To the current Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. By now I have either stepped down or have passed away. This letter is a message to the current Hokage pertaining the contents of the letters and other documents you have found. You see, what was a little over a decade ago was the attack of the nine-tailed fox. Many people lost their lives, including our fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. However, Minato left not only his belongings, but his legacy. However, there was a dark secret behind the nine-tailed fox attack. Minato was married to the sole survivor of Uchiha. Not only that, but she was the niece of Mito Uzumaki. Mito Uzumaki was the wife of the first Hokage Hashirama Senju and first Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. To keep it brief, during the Battle of the Valley of the End, Madara Uchiha utilized his Sharingan to manipulate the tailed beast in hopes of gaining the upper hand. However, Mito joined the fray, and with her clan's advanced sealing techniques, she sealed the beast inside of herself, giving her husband the victory he needed, ending Madara's life. Years later, Mito grew old and had to reseal the beast inside someone else to prevent the beast from ever being unleashed among the shinobi world for a second time. The second Jinchuriki was Kushina Uzumaki, and sole survivor of Uchiha, and the fourth Hokage's wife. Yes, he was married to her in secret a year before the attack and soon found themselves expecting a child. There was one problem. A side effect of the pregnancy involved a large hole for the tailed beast to escape through. The night of the attack, Minato told me that a man wearing a spiral mask claiming to be Madara Uchiha had broken in and killed my wife Biwako along with several other ANBU and nurses before kidnapping Kushina and releasing the nine-tailed fox onto the village in hopes of destroying it. Minato defeated the man, but he escaped using a space-time ninjutsu, freeing the fox from his control. However, Minato knew his wife was too weak to contain the fox any longer. In an act of desperation, Minato had to sacrifice someone close to him, for he could not ask another parent to give up their child. He used the Shiki Fujin to cut a deal with the Shinigami to sacrifice his own life in order to seal away the fox inside his own son. Kushina died slowly after cradling her child, bearing tears that she would never see her child grow. The fourth's final wish was for his son to be seen as a hero. However, that was denied, and the villagers would rather kill a jailer for personal honor and glory, claiming it to be in honor of the fourth. Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki's son is to receive these documents once he reaches 16 or becomes Chunin. Should I be gone before then, I request that he be given the proper guidance and teachings, for I fear my two remaining students would either neglect or purposely stunt his growth. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is to be protected at all costs. Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage. Philemon finished the letter, completely ignoring all the random yelling that occurred during his reading while constantly blocking and countering all of Jiraiya's attacks. Perhaps I should have made my appearance sooner. Regardless, I can see you don't need him, so I might as well take him myself, Philemon said, ignoring the few faces of people who were genuinely shocked by the news. Oh, would you look at the time? I guess I don't have time to read the wills out loud. If you would excuse me, I need to help a certain someone take back what rightfully belongs to him. Philemon soon escaped with the documents by transforming into a butterfly and leaving through the vents. That man is too dangerous to live. Tsunade, do something! Danzo yelled, trying to avoid his weapon from being snatched away. I know, Jiraiya, I need you to round up some ANBU and get to Naruto at the hospital before that man does, Tsunade commanded. Jiraiya nodded and ran off before Tsunade could put the village under high alert. With Naruto. While aimlessly following the butterfly around, Naruto stumbles upon a large mansion-like building covered in vines and moss. The butterfly flew above Naruto and flapped its wings rapidly, creating a powerful gust of wind blowing all of the vines out of the way. Upon closer inspection, he could see the Uzumaki spiral and Namikaze shuriken on the doorway. Continuing to follow the butterfly, Naruto saw the seal glowing rapidly as he approached. Naruto, it is what you call a blood seal. Only people whose DNA would match will be able to access the contents behind these doors, Philemon explained, making Naruto nod as he bit his thumb and rubbed it over the seal, making it glow brighter. The doors clicked and opened slowly, revealing the entrance, and triggering the lights to go on. Going in, Naruto could see the spiraling stairway leading to the next floor. Naruto continued to look around before coming face to face with a large painting of the fourth Hokage holding his arms around a beautiful red-haired woman. Kushina Uzumaki, according to the files I found in the Hokage's office, she was your mother, and the second Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. Naruto looked at the butterfly in shock. I'm sure your tenant will explain things once you come into contact to him. For now, I leave you here. Wait, so what am I supposed to do? You can't just leave me here! Naruto yelled in fear. Naruto, retake what belongs to you. When you are finished, my most trustworthy servant will find you. Good luck, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. From here you will pave the road of your destiny, for as powerful as I am, I cannot bend it myself. And with the butterfly disappeared into the night. Naruto took a deep breath as he started thinking everything over. After a few calm minutes, before making his fingers into a cross creating at least 100 shadow clones. I want you all to take everything. Anything that isn't nailed into the ground goes into sealing scrolls. I don't care what it takes. Konoha has lost its privilege, and by taking away from me, I want to take away from them. Well, what are you waiting for? Naruto yelled, making all the clones run around and start tearing the place apart for anything of worth. Whether financial, emotional, some technique, or message, nothing was staying behind. Naruto, for his part, found a large storage of sealing scrolls and started handing them out before grabbing some paper and stationery to begin leaving his messages behind. He may be a missing nin for this, but that doesn't mean he won't tell anyone about his side of the story. Whether people believe him or not, his voice will be heard and people will know that Tsunade and Jiraiya were keeping secrets from the village. As much as he wishes to stay and work things over, he knew his time came and had to leave before matters became worse. An hour had passed. Naruto had cut out the painting of his parents, and quickly sealed it away shortly before noticing another glowing seal. Putting his bag on the ground, he quickly bit himself again, spraying the blood over the seal, revealing its contents. Inside was steel container similar to a safe, only all the defenses opened, feeling the blood seal being opened, revealing two things. Naruto reached for them. One was a tri-pronged kunai with a scroll wrapped next to it, and a handle with one more seal on it. Placing his blood once more, the handle sprouted a tendril, stabbing him in the hand, forcing him to take a knee until the pain subsided, making the handle grow, revealing a blade taking form of the shape of a butcher knife. Despite the impressive size and threatening look it gave, Naruto did not have time to admire, as time was of the essence, prompting him to seal it and place it with the other scrolls in his backpack. Taking a good look at everything one last time, Naruto ordered the clones to set up explosive notes all over the mansion and slowly dispel themselves one by once they finished. As this was going on, Naruto quickly dashed out the mansion only to find several Anbu and Jiraiya in the way. Persona 5 OST Desire. That's enough, brat. You're in trouble as is for your stunt during your mission. Now put everything back and come with us so I can seal away your chakra, Jiraiya ordered. To hell with you, Jiraiya. You're nothing but a disgrace, and like Tsunade you've hid behind your status as Sannin to run around and do your vices. The old man was a fool to let you run around. He was too kind-hearted, and that was the reason Orochimaru got away, Naruto yelled back. Don't bring up Orochimaru, brat. You managed to bring back your teammate, but at least I didn't use excessive force on mine when he tried to defect, Jiraiya argued. The only difference is Orochimaru was an orphan like me. Besides, it's not like the village really cares for Sasuke. The second more Sharingan babies come, they'll dump him. Sarutobi should have been more strict, but he was too scared you two would run off and become missing nin had he forced you back. Face it, pervert, what purpose do you have here? Naruto asked. I have a spy network, and I'm the Toad Sage. Not only that, but I'm the teacher of the fourth Hokage, Jiraiya yelled, acting as if he were the hero here. Naruto scoffed. And where exactly were you when he sacrificed himself? Where were you during the fox attack? What exactly did you contribute before and after it was all over? Play the sad old man who lost his famous student? Did you even feel remorse when he died, or were you like Tsunade and used Dan and Iwaki as an excuse to run away? Naruto asked. Don't bring Princess into this. She suffered. Unlike. He trailed. Unlike who, Jiraiya? Like me, I had no one. Everyone lost people. Tsunade lost her boyfriend and brother, while other people suffered the same and even worse. Iruka-sensei lost his parents. I lost my parents. Sasuke lost his clan. The first two Hokage lost many clan members and their family before they even established the village, and what did they do? Jiraiya wanted to argue, but found himself forced into silence as if he couldn't dodge the question or lie. Exactly, and what about you? What did you lose? A student only for you to dishonor him by letting his son fend for himself. Jiraiya gritted his teeth as he was unable to say anything, and it was only a moment later that Tsunade would arrive with extra ANBU. Brat, I heard everything and you are absolutely wrong about Tsunade. Soon felt a painful lump in her throat, forcing her to say something else. Nothing. She clapped her hands over her mouth. I knew it. And who was the real victim? Naruto asked. You. Tsunade gasped as she lost control over her own voice. Princess, what are you doing? Jiraiya asked in a concerned voice. I don't know, for some reason I can't lie. She did it again. Regardless, ANBU surround him. Naruto Uzumaki is to be arrested and charged for breaking and entering the 4th Hokage's mansion and stealing clan property. Naruto was having enough and noticed the ANBU slowly approach him with their blades out. Naruto soon felt a pain in his gut that forced him to on his knees as he gripped his head in pain. What's he doing? Tsunade asked. He's faking. Sarutobi-sensei said he was a goofball and a prankster. ANBU, don't let him out of your sight, Jiraiya ordered. Persona 5 OST Awakening. As Naruto gripped his head in pain, his eyes began to change into yellow as small blue fires appeared around him. The ANBU jumped back as several black chains wrapped around him as the fire began to grow and cover him. The two Sannin looked around, wondering what sorcery was causing the attack on him, all while Naruto ignored the events unfolding as the pain was unbearable. Is this how it ends? You are given the hope of freedom? Hope to become strong? Will you choose to be enslaved as a weapon? Naruto grunted as the voice entered his mind, but didn't say anything as the flames grew brighter and the chains restrained him tighter. Or will you overcome your oppressors? Will you be the single flames that lights the darkness? Would you become the savior and redemption of humanity? Choose now. The flames completely surrounded Naruto, distorting the view of the Sannin and ANBU before it exploded, causing several debris of burning chains to fly out towards them. A slave or a savior? End of song. Out of the flames appeared a figure in a black outfit. He had black hair in the shape of bangs, with one being red and the other being yellow. On the lower part of his cheek, some clay or rubber material formed as it were covering part of his face. His attire was composed of a gray muscle shirt under a black trench coat with white symbols for the Uzumaki and Namikaze clan on each individual shoulder. He wore a pair of tactical pants holding a foreign weapon on his leg along with a pair of steel toe boots. Pain will either break or build you. You either learn from your mistakes and see the world, or live in ignorance and forever remain blind. I choose to become strong and stare down whatever opposes me, he said as he stuck out his hand, summoning the large blade. Come forth, Knights of the Round Table! Naruto yelled as the mansion behind him blew up, followed by 3 large flames revealing 3 knights. Persona 5 OST Awakening. What are you waiting for? Get him! Tsunade ordered. The ANBU nodded and charged, only for one of the knights to get in the way, hiding behind masks. Fall before my blade, cowards! Garrula, said the knight as he drew a large blade with a golden handle and crest, creating a gust of wind sending them back. Don't count them out just yet, King Arthur! Naruto yelled, connecting his blade against several tantos behind him. Naruto smirked as he swept their legs and jumped back as another knight jumped in front of him. I will deal with them, sire. Makuga! He yelled, summoning several spikes made of light, knocking the ANBU out. I owe you one, Galahad, Naruto said before finding himself trapped inside a wooden cage. The lion-masked ANBU smirked behind his mask to get stabbed in the leg from the third knight. Screw thine jutsus, we have chivalry, he said before slashing at the ANBU's back and burning the cage away. I'm glad I can count on you too, Percival, Naruto said, getting a thumbs up. Okay, that's it, no more messing around, Jiraiya yelled as he jumped in front of Naruto. I was wondering how long you were going to take until you showed your face, Naruto said, holding the sword over his back. Damn you, brat. I'll permanently seal away your chakra for destroying Minato's legacy, Jiraiya yelled, forming a Rasengan only narrowly avoid a sword strike. You are the bigger fool. You should have taken his place instead, and maybe the village wouldn't have needed the Sannin, Naruto said, coldly, swinging more until Tsunade jumped and punching the ground, creating a gap on the ground Naruto stood on. Naruto quickly jumped away and made several clones that distracted Tsunade. Really, brat, I thought you would have learned by now, she said smugly, only for one of the clones to blow up the moment she punched it out of existence. You honestly think a clone master wouldn't develop his own technique further? Naruto asked, blocking Jiraiya's strikes followed by a frontal kick to his head. The ANBU attempted to regroup and help out the Sannin, only to be boxed in by large flames. None of you are going anywhere. Our fight has not ended yet, said King Arthur, charging in with his sword with Percival and Galahad by his side. Tsunade gritted her teeth, seeing that these new summons stopping her ANBU. She then turned her attention back to the clones, weary that they could likely explode the moment she makes contact with them. Of all times, super strength had to be her trump card, only for that to be nulled. Meanwhile, Jiraiya was quickly getting frustrated as Naruto was much more quick and nimble than before. He knew he had to end this quickly before this dragged on. Jiraiya jumped back, creating two shadow clones, and went through several hand seals only to be interrupted. Makajama. Suddenly Jiraiya's hands went limp and started slapping each other. He bit himself and stomped on the ground a few times, trying to summon the Toad Sages. Why the hell is this working? He asked, slapping his hands together some more. I temporarily erased your memory of all your techniques. You can only use taijutsu at this point, pervert. Naruto grinned before poofing away. Tsunade managed to finish off all of the clones with the few elemental techniques she knew outside of medical ninjutsu before finding another clone grab her from behind. She was about to attack when Naruto dashed towards her, five-pronged seal. Tsunade fell on her knees before feeling her gain jutsu slowly disappear. What did you do, brat? That technique only works over other seals like the one you have, Tsunade yelled while he grinned. Philemon modified it so it could affect anyone who's constantly making chakra flow over their body. A bad time to be a med-nin who needs to maintain perfect chakra control, right? Naruto asked, making her glare daggers. End of song. Naruto looked back, seeing the ANBU defeated. Well, I should get going. Hopefully my clones did their job. Now, as a parting gift, I'll give you this. Naruto approached her with glowing fingers. Evil touch. Tsunade soon found herself in a paralyzed state with wide eyes and started murmuring something he couldn't understand. What did you do to her? Jiraiya asked, running to her side. Full Toon Blast. OC skill. Jiraiya soon found himself screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to cover his ears as he hears the voice of a vulgar teenage boy singing a song called Last Surprise on full blast. Well, that's the end of that. Come on, boys, we did good, but we have to head out now, Naruto said, grabbing his bag and running off as the three knights entered his body. Seeing that the village was under heavy lockdown, and after listening in closely, he could hear that they were on high alert trying to look for him. Either they noticed he was gone from the hospital, or Philemon did something to stir up trouble. What are the chances his new guardian watcher would sell him out and expect him to figure things out on his own? Oh wait, he just pulled a Jiraiya. Naruto sighed, hoping he wouldn't have to put up with another set of Sannin. One tried to kill him, another barely trained him, then almost killed him, and the final one backstabbed him and tried to arrest him. Noticing several guards at the gate, Naruto took his chances and made a clone of himself disguised in his original outfit and hairstyle. The clone jumped down, grabbing their attention. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm going to be Hokage Databeo." The guards just stared at him blankly. "I'm also going to be referred to as Boruto's dad in the future," he said dryly. "Get him!" they all yelled, chasing the clone all the way to the Hokage monument. "I did not get this far just to be called Boruto's dad. Regardless, I'm not coming back, so I'd better get rid of these," Naruto said with a frown as he removed his forehead protector and necklace before making 2 clones. "Give the necklace to Shizune, she'll know what to do. Give the forehead protector to Iruka-sensei, it's his anyways," he ordered before taking off to the outskirts of the village. In the distance, 2 Uchiha can see Naruto running off. "Hey, there he is. Let's catch him," one of them said. "No, you idiot. That guy is wearing all black, meaning he's a badass on an awesome journey. Look, just use the Byakugan and check," the other said, getting a nod. "Yup, you're right, I can't see any disguise or high levels of chakra," he said, scratching his head. "See, what did I tell you?" Naruto would be laughing if he could hear them. A while later, Naruto stopped for a moment to catch his breath before realizing he had no direct destination. Philemon said that he would be on his own and that he would be left in the care of an associate of his. Naruto groaned, realizing that this new guy pulled a Jiraiya on him. He took a seat by stump and decided to think about what to do next now that he was lost, and to make matters worse, he was a missing nin. First step was to figure where to go. Wave Country, a nice place where he is accepted, and recently heard he was called a hero. Konoha could easily destroy the place if it meant catching him. Okay, how about Snow Country? There are rumors that spring finally arrived and it's pretty far and has its own hidden village and elite guard. Wait, would they change the name of their village due to change in climate too? Regardless, it's too far away. Then there's Taki. Shibuki could let him in, being leader and all. But they're a smaller village, and with the whole balance of powers thing, it might be a bigger mess than if he went to Wave. Naruto sat up and stretched his legs. Snow/Spring might be the best place to go with the least trouble, and hopefully he can raise the money to pay for a boat ride. Just as he was ready to go, Naruto felt some heat in one of the pockets of his jacket. Digging through his pocket, found a strange blue card with a mask that was half black and half white. As he studied the strange item, he felt a weird vibration coming from behind him, putting him on the offensive. Looking at the sign of the vibration, he saw a blue ghost-like gate in the middle of the road. Approaching it, he noticed a rectangular imprint on the lock. As he looked back at the card, he felt it vibrate as it came closer to the gate lock. Putting 2 and 2 together, and watching out for his personal safety, Naruto made a shadow clone and ordered it to connect it with the lock. A second later, the lock made a clicking noise before dropping the card and opening. The clone dispelled as Naruto picked up the card and decided to stick his arm through the glowing entrance, feeling nothing but air. Letting his curiosity get the better of him, he sticks his head out, which forced the gate to close behind him, pushing him in all the way. Quickly composing himself, Naruto looked around to find himself inside the courtyard of some mansion. As he looked around, he noticed a blue butterfly spinning around in the air before entering an open window and landing on someone's finger that was stuck out. Prick, Naruto said, not noticing the butterfly somehow grow a tick mark. Having an idea of what was, started to run up to mansion and knocked on the door. A moment later, he heard several footsteps followed by several loud crashed and sounds of broken furniture. "Hold on now, I will be with you in just a minute," he heard the voice say. Naruto's sweat dropped as he could hear more sounds of broken furniture and sounds of tripping. "Please bear with me. I am rather blind and unable to do most things besides play the piano. However, I am also a great cook and housekeeper," the voice said, followed by more broken sounds. "You know what, how about you just let yourself in?" the voice said. Naruto grabbed the handle and turned it, only to feel that it was locked. I can't get in, you have to open it from your side, he said. Oh my, this will take longer than expected, the voice said, followed by more stumbling. You want me to pick the door? Naruto asked. There was silence until the door was finally opened, revealing an older man wearing a blindfold. No need, sir. Welcome to the Velvet Room. My name is Nameless, he said, sticking his hand out the wrong way. Naruto turned him and shook his hand. So you don't have a name? He asked. No, it's just that Nameless is my name. Nameless answered. Anyways, come in. We've been expecting you, Mr. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto answered, walking into a dark room. Is it always this dark? He asked, already realizing his mistake. I am blind. Nameless deadpanned before stumbling away in the dark. Persona 3, 4, and 5 OST poem of Everyone's Souls / Velvet Room. Several lights lit themselves, revealing a desk and man whose face was covered by the shadows. I take it your journey was rather exciting? He asked. Naruto took a deep breath before answering. Exciting isn't how I would describe the fact I had to run away from my home. Although, there's the fact I can't return there ever again, he answered, making the mysterious figure nod. Now that you are without a home, do you feel out of place? Perhaps you feel that you are missing a purpose? The figure asked. What purpose? I've been lied to my whole life, and some of the people that I thought I could trust are either gone or betrayed me. I'm only here because a man I saw in my dream granted me power and revisited me again to save me, only for me to end up on my own, Naruto explained. So you believe that although you've gained your freedom, you have found yourself alone in this world based on the directions a stranger has given you. Is there someone out there you are willing to turn to now that you are alone? He asked. Naruto sighed. I can imagine a few people who are willing to give me a chance, likely at a price once they figured the trouble I could cause just by being around. So in reality, no, I don't. I'm alone and don't have anyone but myself and personal morals to fight for, he admitted, thinking about his aimless journey. What would you say that you did have a purpose? That somewhere out there, a divine being or something of great power would demand that you reach greatness? Are you willing to ignore the call and continue searching aimlessly throughout the elemental nations on your own? Or will you take on this task just to find some purpose and direction? He asked. A long silence came, and Naruto finally answered after taking a long time to think. I have nothing else to do. I would accept the job, he stated impassively. The man grinned as the light grew brighter, revealing his face. He had a creepy smile. He had big eyes and a long nose with white hair growing on the back of his head while the top was bald. His attire was composed of a black suit with white gloves. Come here, boy. Naruto walked up to the man. I'll give you a choice, boy. You are not obligated to do as you are told, but I will give you a chance to think twice. Will you continue down this path as Philemon had instructed you until now, or will you return to the elemental nations down your aimless journey? Choose wisely, he said. Naruto thought about and looked back at the door that opened on its own, leading back to the gate that was opened again. Thinking back to it, he didn't have much of a choice. At this point in his short life, there were only two options he could pick from: bad and worse. He looked back at the long-nosed man. I wish to continue, Naruto answered, causing smoke to appear on the man's desk, revealing a sheet of paper. Thus the contract has been signed, he said as Naruto looked down to see his name being written on its own. I am Igor, and I welcome to the Velvet Room Naruto Uzumaki. You are welcome to stay here until your contract is fulfilled, Igor said. Naruto sighed yet again, wondering what he got himself into. 1 year later, Velvet Mansion. It's been a full 12 months since Naruto had left his home. It's also been 3 weeks he last faced his former sensei, the Rookie 8, and Team Guy. He looked out the window and looked at the simulated weather caused by the Velvet Room. From what he had gathered, his new home was a pocket dimension separated from the elemental nations. It was strange and unique, however he didn't trust this dimension or the inhabitants when he first arrived. He was shocked to know that they had a file on his life, his likes, dislikes, attitudes, experiences, just about everything to confirm that he was the same person that stood before them. However, that changed since he had lost faith in other people at the time and wasn't prone to sticking around. He would have left, but he was bound to the room, which was a good thing considering he had no place to stay that would ensure his safety or safety of those he stayed with. Naruto was cold and distant, and would refuse to interact with them if it was not necessary. He listened to their long lectures explaining the purpose of the three spirits inside him, personas. Personas were a manifestation of his soul, and to control more than one made him a wild card. Although, what made him more unique was possessing three at the same time during his initial awakening and manipulation them all in one go, with little to no strain depending on how much energy he put in. Each persona was under an arcana, each telling a small story with a chance of telling the future of the individual depending on their arcana. To Naruto's misfortune, he was the fool. The fourth one the Velvet Room has hosted. What was strange was his connection to his personas, as only Perceval fell under the Fool. Galahad falls under the Hierophant and King Arthur falls under the Chariot. It all depended on his bonds with others, and they all become stronger as his bonds grow. Naruto sighed as he remembered his original status of his bonds when he first arrived. He found a strange mark on his own written in kanji on the bottom of his wrist. Initial confidence. The Fool, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze rank 5. The Justice, Hiruzen Sarutobi rank shattered. The Hermit, Jiraiya rank shattered. The Empress, Tsunade Senju rank shattered. The Emperor, Sasuke Uchiha rank shattered. The Lovers, Sakura Haruno rank shattered. But then he smiled as months passed and he awakened to new bonds. He opened up again and grew stronger. His isolation would not become permanent, granting him power. Not for the sake of vengeance or hate, but to defend those he cares about and those who do not have the strength to defend themselves. He looked at the current status on his wrist. Current confidence. The Fool, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze rank 8. The Strength, Lavenza rank 8. The Empress, Margaret rank 6. The Death, Elizabeth rank 6. The Star, Theodore rank 7, some say he's also the Death, but I wanted to separate them. The Chariot, Kiba Inuzuka rank 4. The Emperor, Iraka Yumino rank 4. The High Priestess, Shizune Kato rank 5. The Hanged Man, Itachi Uchiha rank 5. Persona 5 OST Under the Mask Rain Ver. Naruto smiled at the new chance he was given and how he finally decided to stray from the path of loneliness and sorrow which he originally traveled as a child. His thoughts were interrupted as he felt a tug on his pants. He looked down to see Lavenza in her pajamas looking at him with sad eyes. Naruto sighed, knowing she would use her cuteness to manipulate him into doing something. He kneeled before her and smiled. "Do you need something, princess?" Naruto asked, getting a nod. "It's raining and I'm scared that lightning will strike," Lavenza said with a blush. "I forgot you're afraid of storms. You can handle a few scary-looking personas and handle fighting, but you can't handle a little thunder?" Naruto asked, making her blush brighter. "Can you sleep with me tonight?" she asked. "Sure, princess, it's getting late anyways," Naruto said, picking her up in his arms. Naruto went up the stairs, keeping a tight grip around the little girl until he reached the door to her room. It had her name followed by gold and blue butterflies along with the logo for the Strength Arcana. Smiling, Naruto opened the door and slowly placed Lavenza onto her bed. She was adorable in a way. It may have been rude, but he always saw Lavenza as his favorite. Hence the reason why his bond with her was the strongest. Opening the door, he found her room still littered with Phantom Thieves propaganda and other merchandise. Naruto chuckled at the sight as he carried her towards her bed and gently placing her down. "Let me take my jacket and boots off first, okay, princess?" Lavenza nodded. Naruto placed his jacket on an empty chair along with his boots and sealing scroll containing his sword and various other weapons. Taking a deep breath, he turned to Lavenza, who was snuggling with the stuffed doll. A ragged one with black hair wearing a makeshift jacket. He could only imagine who that's supposed to be. Chuckling, he slowly climbs into bed before Lavenza grabs his arm and wraps it around herself like a blanket. "Good night, princess," Naruto said before kissing her on the side of the forehead. Lavenza blushed at the kiss, sure it wasn't the first one she received. However, what Naruto doesn't know, and what her other siblings probably don't know, is her crush on the older boy. She originally felt a sibling-like connection which she lacked from her elder brother, and didn't get a chance from her sister, as they were either busy or not interested. Naruto was the one to open up to her first, leading to him regaining his trust in others. That's when she started liking his real personality. Despite being a little girl, Lavenza was not naive or blinded by hearts over her eyes. Lavenza actually took the time to think about herself, and wondered about the kind of man the new Persona user was. To confirm her theory, she was right. It wasn't until the time she almost drowned helping Prince Chikara save that tiger. Naruto's clones saved the prince and the tiger, leaving the real Naruto to save Lavenza. Even then she had her doubts, but deep down inside she just wants to try something in order to catch his attention. Lavenza may be a child and realizes she doesn't fully understand the concept of romance or love, but she's ready to take rejection. Why isn't she worried despite having her sort of crush? Because she's clueless as her favorite blonde. No offense to her platinum blonde sister and brother. "Good night, Naruto," she said, keeping a good hand on his arm. End of song. The next morning, Lavenza opened her eyes, slowly regaining her sight before finding herself sleeping on his chest. Her face immediately shared the same color variant of a tomato. Trying to move herself away, she found Naruto adjusting himself to where they were face to face, only an inch apart. It didn't help that she saw her doors slowly opening, revealing Elizabeth's head. The older girl giggled at the sight. Lavenza mouthed, "Help me please," only to receive a head shake from her sister. "I'll let Margaret know what you're doing. We need more time to set up everything anyways," Elizabeth whispered as she quietly closed the door. Lavenza remained in her red-faced state until Naruto started slowly opening his eyes and removing his grip. Lavenza quickly escaped his grasp and watched as he woke himself up. "Morning, princess," he said with a foxy grin. "Hey, are you okay? Your face is red?" he asked. Lavenza tried to control her blush. "You were warm, Naruto, so it affected my skin," she lied. Naruto was satisfied with the answer. "Well, the morning won't last forever. Let's get some breakfast together before I head out to train," he said, grabbing his things. Just as he was about to head out the door when Lavenza grabbed onto his hand. "Naruto, wait, I want to ask you something," she said. "What is it, princess?" Naruto asked. Lavenza rushed through her mind, thinking about what kind of distraction to come up with while her siblings were working on his surprise downstairs. "Can you show me that jutsu thingy your father made?" she asked. Naruto stuck out his hand and formed it in his palm. In a matter of 2 seconds a blue sphere appeared, and another 2 seconds later it created sharp tips made of wind. "Are you satisfied?" he asked as he opened the door, stepping out. "Wait, Naruto, I have another request," Lavenza spoke up, stopping him. "Lavenza, I am not in the mood to make another fusion for you right now," Naruto said with a groan. "No, I want you to tell me about that time you and Naruto raised a brow, making her nervous. To tell me about that time you and brother Theodore became best friends," she yelled out, to the point the siblings and Igor heard from downstairs. "What?" were the thoughts of the sisters, while Theodore made a sad smile. "Oh, that's an interesting story. You probably didn't notice since I kept it to myself and Theo was always stoic, but we were ready to rip each other's throats out." "Crap, when did we become friends?" Naruto pondered. "No, wait, it was after the incident in the Star Village," he said. 1 month after mansion arrival, Naruto's POV. I remember it like it was 10 years ago. Geez, what the heck is wrong with my memory? First people think I'm a fox, now I think I'm turning into a goldfish. To keep it simple, Igor started handing me missions. I didn't trust any of you guys, and it didn't help that Igor was forcing me on these missions. What made it worse was I didn't have a say due to the fact I signed the contract, and to make it worse, they paired me with my least favorite attendant. Igor also grabbed that weird thing that was stuck on my face, which turned into that mask I always wear. Trying to keep it professional, we found the Konoha ninja protecting a meteorite until it got stolen literally after they showed up. It was pretty funny to think about, but Theo ruined it by pointing out their standard procedure that they needed. I followed the thief regardless of Theo's warnings. Found out the thief was some lady named Natsuhi who apparently had to be banished along with her deceased husband so her village would prohibit the practice of learning jutsus through the meteorite. I sympathized with her until this guy named Akahoshi caught up with us. Apparently this guy kidnapped her son Sumeru as a bargaining chip for the meteorite. That pissed me the hell off, so instead of kicking his ass, Natsuhi wanted some boring honorable samurai fight using their meteorite jutsu. It was practically over when I stepped in and knocked Akahoshi and his cronies on their butts with a little help from Galahad. They got away, but it turned out the team from Konoha were Team Guy. Rock Lee was a member, and apparently he saved Sumeru. I regrouped with Theo, who was covered in twigs and scratches since I forgot he wasn't a shinobi. Finding a good vantage point, we saw the trade-off, and Natsuhi explained her plight to the ninja. Niji was the leader of the group since their sensei wasn't around and demanded that as hired help, they would force Natsuhi to return the meteorite. Let's just say he earned a good beating before I stepped in and took out his teammates. After a sad reunion and explanation, Sumeru and Natsuhi were found again by Akahoshi and his 2 men. Draining them of their energy, Akahoshi amplified his jutsu and defeated Natsuhi before taking back the meteorite. Team Guy regained consciousness and took Natsuhi prisoner under Akahoshi's orders. This is when things got intense. Normal POV. P5 OST Desire. So you siding with him? Sumeru asked in outrage as they started to tie up his mother. It is our mission to retrieve the star. Seeing as you are an accomplice, you are also a criminal we have to apprehend, Niji said, with Lee and Tenten nodding in agreement. Naruto made his appearance known. You would side with the bastard who forces children to slowly kill themselves? They were right when they say shinobi have no honor, he yelled. That matters not. It was fate that decided the law to be made this way. As Konoha shinobi, we will defeat you too if we have to, Niji said. Surrender now, Sumeru. You and your traitorous friend here are in a lot of trouble. Besides, I'm the new Yondaime Hashikage. You have to do as I say, Akahoshi said arrogantly. You bastard, I would never follow you after what you've done. I know your secret. Ka-san told me about how the Sandaime prohibited the star training. Then you killed the Sandaime so you could reinstate it, Sumeru said, getting some odd looks. Some wild accusations, Sumeru. No doubt lies coming from your treacherous mother, Akahoshi said with a grin. This was likely an attempt at a coup. Regardless, I'll be sure to silence Natsuhi permanently, he added. You won't get away with this, Sumeru yelled. Watch me. What would a pathetic boy like you do? All you do is blabbering about being Hashikage when all you are is a dog biting the hand of its master. You and every one of those children are servants of your betters. Like anyone would want a slave to be their Hashikage. With that, Naruto felt something inside him before turning to Sumeru. Sumeru looked down as tears fell down his eyes. He's right. What kind of fool am I? Who would want some punk orphan for a Kage? Your friends do. Sumeru turned to Naruto. Wah. Sumeru, you have something I don't, and those are friends. People who support you. People who have your back and fight for you when you need it. Are you really going to turn your back on everyone just because some bastard makes you? Sumeru remained silent. Theodore, for his part, caught up with Naruto again in time to hear him. What about Hotaru? Or everyone else who went through the star training? Are you really going to let their voices be silent? Would the past Hashikage bend over to the whims of a madman? See? Dogs like Sumeru know when to heel and when to. Shut up! Sumeru interrupted. Shut up, I've done everything I could for this village. I bleed for my village so everyone can prosper, not so you can play God. It's time I put my foot down, Sumeru yelled with confidence. Akahoshi laughed as a few more Hoshinin arrived. Execute them for their treachery. That is my first order as Yandai Mei Hashikage, he commanded. P5 OST Awakening. Sumeru soon took a knee as he gasped for air. Naruto knew this look before and it caught Theodore off guard. My, no longer following orders like a dog? Sumeru forced himself up, revealing his yellow eyes, scaring the Hoshi and Konoha ninja. They stepped back as they felt immense energy residing around him. Do you wish to continue this way or prefer the outdated ways like a Neanderthal? I need to get stronger and save those who can't save themselves. Ah, a revolutionary, I see. I'm no army man, but you do not need to take arms to make a difference. Very well, I am thou art I, and together we forge a contract. Naruto stood back beside Theodore as chains and fire wrapped around Sumeru. He screamed in pain as the fires burned and the chains tightened. Sumeru-kun! Sarayed Natsuhi as she saw her own child being burned alive. Hoturo and the rest arrived at the sight and panicked. Why aren't you helping him? Yelled a distraught Natsuhi. Naruto merely turned to her, seemingly without emotion as his mask covered his face. End of song. You have to let your child wake up on his own, he said. Suddenly the fires stopped and the chains bursted. Come to me, Galileo, Sumeru said. P5 OST will power. Before them stood Sumeru adorning a pair of boots, cargo pants and a cape covering his arm with a sun stitched into it while holding a rapier. I am Galileo Galilei, the father of modern physics and modern science, and I am here to prove your theory wrong, said a spectral figure of an elder man in fine Renaissance-era clothing and holding a silver telescope. Akahoshi didn't like the sight of this summon and looked to the Konoha ninja. Don't stand there, you useless ninja. He's clearly trying to steal back the star, he ordered. Team Guy ran towards Sumeru only for their path to be caught on fire by a ghostly-looking knight. Your fight is with me, Naruto said, drawing his heavy sword. Fate has decided that you alone will be defeated by our might, Niji said arrogantly. Well, fate has declared that you need to clean the sand out of your V-star, Naruto stated. I am male, Niji said with a red face. Could have fooled me, Naruto stated. Meanwhile, Akahoshi's cronies started surrounding Sumeru before heavy lightning shots narrowly missed them. The Hoshinin looked to see Theodore standing beside Thor. Now, we can't have you cutting into someone else's dance now, can we? He said. Back with Sumeru. Ninja art, Kujaku! Akahoshi powered up his strange jutsu, charging it at Galileo. Agileo. The dragon-shaped jutsu slowly resented as the mysterious persona fought back, summoning fire through its telescope. As the fight went on, Sumeru started attacking Akahoshi head-on. The wannabe Kage attempted to fight back with kunai. Though an amateur genin, Sumeru revealed intermediate-level swordsmanship, sending Akahoshi back. The fight was practically over in minutes as Kujaku could only last for so long until Galileo defeated it. Akahoshi was on his back, pinned to a wall. Sumeru kept his rapier straight at the man's neck. Come now, Sumeru, you know very well we need this training. My friends are slowly dying from a cancerous diseases caused by your training. They're failing because they don't love the village. We put the village before anything else. It's you who puts your egotism before us. Please let me live. Oh, you'll live, in prison for the rest of your days. Akahoshi was looking desperate and looked around him. Niji's Kaiten couldn't handle the combination of wind and fire attacks, knocking him out. Tenten literally tossed every weapon she had as if everything was on fire. Sadly, 99% of the weapons missed, and she was knocked out with a chop to the back since she was too busy pulling out a new weapon every chance she got. Then Lee kept at it until he was put to sleep using Dormina to prevent him from releasing his weights. The Konoha ninja were defeated. As for Theodore, the debonair sat on a rock reading a novel, while all the Hoshinin were passed out from literal shock. Akahoshini, he had one last card to play, catching Sumura by surprise. He got out of his line of range and pulled out the star. The crazed man attempted to shove the meteorite into his chest to amplify his power until suddenly. Bang! The meteorite was blown to pieces by a device in Naruto's hand. I always wondered what this thing did, Naruto said with a hidden smirk. Akahoshi was too infuriated at the sight of his precious star being destroyed. In a pathetic attempt to reacquire his power back, he started putting all the pieces back only for it to crumble, which was enough time for Sumuru to knock him out. The day was saved. Naruto POV. So long story short, we kicked ass, saved the day, partied, and best of all, reunited a mother and son after so many years. Akahoshi admitted to his crimes and the genin revealed their illness. Nothing a few bombs of life and other potions couldn't fix up. The only people who didn't benefit were the Konoha shinobi, since Niji didn't do a good of defending his team, claiming it was fate. He used fate so much the village threatened to crucify him. In the end, they were banished and ended their treaty with Konoha. As for us, Theo and I partied and realized we had a lot in common. So, burying the hatchet, we set up a treaty between them and Suna and came home to wake up with massive headaches. I wonder how Sumuru and Natsuhi are. It's been interesting to make friends with Akagi and her son outside of Gaara. End of flashback. So in reality, all we needed was a party and time to talk things out. Don't know why I bothered explaining everything before that, Naruto said. That's enough for now, I'm starving. Lavenza ran past him, noticing they weren't done yet. Wait, Naruto! What is it now? He whined. I have to tell you something. It's really super important. Naruto raised a brow. Lavenza panicked and randomly shouted out the first thing that came to her mind without realizing how deep it was. I love you. This was met with silence. Even the siblings stopped for a moment, feeling shocked at this. Suddenly Naruto responded with a smile. I love you too, princess, he said, making Lavenza almost pass out from the blood rushing to her head. Meanwhile, Igor raised a brow, Elizabeth giggled, Margaret looked like her heart was shattered like glass, and Theodore was trying to stretch his hat out with his mouth in anger. That brat only befriended me to get with my sister. When I get my hands on that Lilicon, I'm going to rip him with my bare hands, Theodore thought, feeling his brotherly rage. What? Lavenza asked, still red as a tomato. I love you, Lavenza, I love all you girls, Naruto said with a bright smile. Elizabeth stopped chuckling as she turned red. Margaret for some reason felt hopeful yet lost while Theodore was about to rip off his hat. Was this his secret plan to build his harem? I don't care what his contract says. I'm getting rid of him right now, he thought as his hat was ready to tear. Even Theo in a way. The bellboy-dressed man suddenly stopped and turned paler than his normal skin complexion. I don't understand, Lavenza said, feeling creeped out, thinking her crush played for both teams. Well, I guess it sounds awkward, but over time I saw Theo as my older brother. With the time I've spent with all four of you, you've all turned into the family I never had the chance to get. It's something I don't take for granted, Naruto explained as he grabbed Lavenza's hand. Come on, princess, let's get some breakfast before I become too busy today. Lavenza soon found herself hugging his legs as silent tears fell down her eyes. Everyone downstairs felt a tug in their hearts at Naruto's proclamation. Their thoughts were cut off as they heard footsteps prompting them to hurry up and hide. The pair walked down the stairs heading towards the kitchen as Lavenza noticed everyone in their hiding place. She giggled at the poor subtlety and continued following Naruto. Still blushing a bit, she was still considering her opinion on whether or not her feelings towards him are genuine. Happy Hanukkah! Lavenza found herself latching onto Naruto like a life preserver and hid her face. Lavenza, it's just Nameless being himself," Naruto said, making her turn her head, seeing Nameless posing in the opposite direction with a cake covered in sparklers to his side. Lavenza puffed up her cheeks, making Naruto chuckle. "Nameless, what is this for?" he asked the blind man who wasn't aware of where he was. "The siblings wanted me to make a cake to commemorate today. So here you go," Nameless said, lifting the cake to the other side. "Other way, Nameless." Nameless turned around, presenting the cake. "Thanks, but I think it's pretty early for cake and I need to train. Do you think I can keep this in the fridge until later?" Naruto asked, getting a nod. Putting the pastry away, Naruto sat Lavenza on a counter as he began to grab some eggs and other supplies from the pantry. Lavenza, however, saw that even Igor was sneaking away without making a sound. It was rather hilarious to see his one expression remaining the same despite attempting to look cautious. The little girl sighed and decided to distract Naruto a little bit longer. "Hey Naruto, can you tell me another story while you cook?" Lavenza asked, hoping to keep him distracted long enough. "Sure, princess, what about?" Naruto asked, not taking his eyes off his plate. How about that time when Naruto didn't stop cooking, but made a gesture for her to keep going? Lavenza soon turned her head to see Elizabeth drop a few things and almost hitting Theodore with a paint bucket. "How about the time Elizabeth had a crush on you?" Elizabeth's eyes became white and hollow as she turned red. "I do not have a crush on him," she mouthed before sneaking away. "Oh, that? Nah, Elizabeth doesn't have a crush on me. Besides, she's not my type." He could hear a plate break. "What was that?" "Nothing. Just keep going," Lavenza said, knowing Elizabeth feels sensitive for some reason. "Well, I don't know about that, but there was this one time when we bonded when we took care of Anbu," Naruto said. "Anbu?" Lavenza asked. "Oh yeah, I don't think you were there for it. Remember that time Elizabeth and I were gone for an entire week?" Lavenza nodded, wondering what the two were doing. "Well, it all started after I helped my friend Kiba, which was after I broke into the village to get some supplies. They would either overcharge me or deny me service, so it was good payback." Flashback, 4 months after arrival, Naruto POV. To keep it short, Elizabeth was my escort that time since Theo was sick and Margaret had to tend to things. Still worried about your transforming thing? Margaret never explained what it was that happened to you, and I never bothered asking. So Elizabeth decided that since she didn't have the agility of a shinobi to run and jump on tree branches, that I would carry her on my back. Spoiled princess didn't realize luck would bite her in the ass, but... Normal POV. "Hey Naruto, get me near that bird," Elizabeth ordered, making him sigh as he did as told. The pair reached the same altitude and she screamed at it, making it drop something as Elizabeth laughed. Just as the pair landed, Elizabeth felt something awkward. "Oh my, did it really? I guess not." "What happened?" Naruto asked. "I felt something fall and thought the bird defecated on me." Naruto started turning green. "I guess it was nothing, but I do need a shower." "Hurry up, horsey," she commanded. "Whatever you say, Your Majesty," Naruto said, sprinting to the portal. Velvet Estates. The pair arrived at the gates. "Okay, we're home, you get off now," Naruto said. "No, we have to make it all the way," Elizabeth ordered with a grin. Naruto soon started sniffing around. "No, get off right now, woman, you stink," he said, activated his mask, hoping it masked smells. "How rude," Elizabeth said. Suddenly Theodore and Margaret coming out seeing the pair argue. Naruto, are you done with your journey? Margaret asked. Yeah, and your beautiful pest won't get off me, Naruto said. Elizabeth blushed and decided it was time to get off. Anyways, how was your trip? Margaret asked. Actually, I was hoping to ask Igor about something that happened when I met up with Kiba, Naruto answered. Oh? What happened? Theodore asked. You see, when I caught up with him, there was something wrong with his dog Akamaru. Long story short, his sister Hannah was ordered to put him down, so after Elizabeth helped me tie her up, we were able to cure Akamaru, and then this thing happened between Kiba and I when he was talking about being grateful and seeing me as a friend until the bitter end. Naruto stopped for a moment and pulled out his sword. The sword itself originally appeared as a butcher knife before slimming down and revealing several pockets in the shape of drawers. Several of the drawers appeared empty, and Naruto pulled something out of the non-vacant drawers. The object revealed itself to be a card with the Roman numeral for 7. The Chariot Arcana, and it clearly appears to be in its first stage. It's only natural you form bonds. Didn't Elizabeth explain this to you? Margaret asked, making Naruto glare at Elizabeth, who was whistling away. No, she didn't. Clearly someone wanted to hold out for the sake of a piggyback ride, Naruto said, making her giggle. Eep! Elizabeth! Margaret yelled, covering her chest. What did she do now? Theodore asked. Margaret scowled as her cheeks turned pink. Elizabeth, why now of all times did you have to grab my assets? She asked, feeling embarrassed. Elizabeth blushed as well. What are you talking about? I haven't done that since we were kids, she yelled before Margaret squealed again. Naruto quickly looked to find a small hairy hand and grabbed it. ONBU. What in the world is that? Theodore asked, seeing the arms struggling, revealing a brown creature similar to a primate. Onbu! 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 Yelled the creature, refusing to let go of the back of Elizabeth's shirt. Get that thing off of me! Elizabeth demanded, afraid of the strange creature. I might rip your shirt off if I do, Naruto said, struggling. Elizabeth blushed and started to undo her dress. Just give me your jacket, she said. Naruto quickly tossed her his jacket as she unbuttoned her dress before quickly covering herself. The creature fell and quickly removed itself before latching onto Naruto and riding on his back. Oh great, now it's me, Naruto complained, taking his muscle shirt off, making the girls blush at his developing abs as he got shirtless. Sadly, the primate-like creature quickly latched onto Elizabeth's jacket. Why me? She asked. I have an idea. The siblings turned to Naruto, who pulled out his strange device which he rarely uses, pointing it at Elizabeth's back. Naruto, where the heck did you get a gun? Elizabeth screamed, afraid that he was going to kill her. Oh, is that what it's called? Naruto said, studying this gun he hasn't used since he destroyed that meteorite in Hashirama. Naruto, put that away. The bullet is going to go through the creature and pierce Elizabeth's heart, Theodore warned, making Naruto fumble around with the gun, almost dropping it, making everyone panic. Good thing he caught it quickly and put it back in his holster. Maybe Igor can explain how to get rid of this, Naruto suggested. A while later, they all stood in Igor's study, who went over a large textbook. This creature is known as the mythical Amba, a creature with the appearance of a sloth, bear, primate-like creature. They are said to be stronger than gorillas and larger than any regular bear. This one appears to be in its infantile state and will cling on to anything it believes to be its mother. Sadly, its grip is too strong, making it difficult to remove, Igor explained, revealing a large gray creature with red eyes. Igor, do you have any suggestions as to get rid of it? Naruto asked, making the man think. I see you've already tried taking your clothing off, as seen with Elizabeth still wearing your coat, Igor pointed out. Seriously, why didn't Naruto just take his jumpsuit off in the anime? He has more jumpsuits than Luffy has sandals. Wait, Naruto, why are you still shirtless? Margaret asked with a blush. It's hot, Naruto said. Margaret was about to deny the claims when Theodore and Elizabeth started panting as sweat started to cover their skin. She remained silent until Igor spoke up. You could always kill it, he suggested, getting wide eyes. Naruto, just shoot it off, Elizabeth demanded, closing her eyes and turning sideways. Anbu? Elizabeth opened her eyes to see it, giving her sad eyes, making her cry internally. Then her eyes moved to Naruto, who was adjusting his revolver. Naruto also got caught in its line of sight, making him shake his armed hand, making him too anxious to pull the trigger, as if all his fingers started to feel numb. His hand lost its grip, making him drop the weapon, and luckily didn't land hard enough to fire. Good thing it's not on a hair trigger, Theodore mentioned. Naruto POV. In a nutshell, Elizabeth and I grew a conscience and let the Amba live. Igor recommended we get rid of somehow, especially since we're both the least responsible people in the Velvet Mansion. I heard you were sick, so I didn't bother to check in since I didn't know you well at the time. Regardless, you didn't really say anything when Elizabeth and I came back. It was a fun time. We got to see the countryside, tried new foods, and had small adventures of our own. We even helped some bounty hunter clear his name, and catch some guy named Gosunkuji and exposed him. This also led to unintentionally making Team 8 fail their mission, and luckily Kiba didn't rat me out. He's a good friend. We also learned that Anbia, that's what we named him, had a love for fish cakes. I think Elizabeth also grew closer with a certain fish cake. For shelter, we would hide out in a cave and would take turns sleeping with Anbia since he wouldn't let us sleep on our backs. I didn't even notice little old Elizabeth using my chest as a pillow. She was already using my jacket as a blanket. What else did she want? Medicine probably. Her face was redder than my mother's hair. You're probably wondering what happened just as our week ended. Well, to be frank, we started noticing Anbi changing to a grayish color and started growing, but the little guy became our little pal and we weren't ready to part ways from him. So despite what Igor said, we were planning on keeping him as a member of the family. That was the plan anyways until Mama showed up. Normal POV. The pair were talking about a schedule on raising Anbi when suddenly they felt earthquakes. Naruto turned first, only to take a punch to the face, sending him crashing into a tree. Naruto! Elizabeth panicked, trying to run up to him, only to take a hit to the side, sending her skidding and making Anbi lose his grip. Looking up, Elizabeth shrieked in terror that an adult Amba had arrived and was likely the mother of Anbi, thinking they were a threat to her child. Trying to grab her book, Elizabeth was raised up in the air and tossed over a hill. Naruto saw this and dashed after her. Meanwhile, the older Amba communicated with Anbu, explaining to him that she was his mother. Anbu, after understanding this, finished his transformation, making him bigger, stronger, and feral-looking. Back with Naruto, the teen ran down the hill wall, forming a couple of clones who pulled out kunai and slamming them into the wall in a fashion similar to tree branches before they all dispelled. The real Naruto started free-falling towards Elizabeth, who closed her eyes and taking rapid breaths. She opened her eyes to find herself grabbed by golden chains and being pulled up to Naruto. She felt awe as he summoned the chains again, and pulled himself up to where the kunai were and started hopping on them to the top. Naruto, what are those chains? Elizabeth asked. My mother's adamantine sealing chains, or chakra chains for short. I awakened to it when I saved Margaret a while back. Naruto explained, making it to the top. Elizabeth got off of Naruto's arms and looked around for Anbia, hoping the older creature didn't hurt him. I can't see Anbia anywhere. Suddenly felt the heavy footsteps to find two grown Amba. Anbu? Naruto asked, approaching the smaller one only to be punched into a rock. Naruto! Elizabeth yelled, running to his side. I think something's wrong with Anbu, he said, rubbing his head. The mother and son arrived, not looking too happy, screaming into the air. The mother pointed at Naruto and ordered Anbu to attack him. Just as feral Anbu was ready to land his strike, Elizabeth jumped in the way. Stop, Anbu! It's me and Naruto. Don't you remember us? She asked only to get slapped away. Naruto quickly got up and avoided Anbu's assault while trying to talk things out with the mythical creature. Sadly, the creature didn't bother listening as the mother started yelling louder, demanding for Anbu to kill them already. Anbu was ready to slam his paw again until Elizabeth jumped out again, dumping out a bag of fish cake they bought from a ramen shop. In desperation, she started grabbing some and raised it to his face, making him stop and think for a moment. Please, Anbu. Please remember us. Remember all the good times. Elizabeth cried out. Naruto looked up and sweat dropped at what unfolded in front of Elizabeth. Anbu's eyes started turning into swirls as the sight before his eyes returned to their original green rather than his pharaoh red. The mother shouted again and was about to attack Elizabeth, only for Anbu to stop the attack. Eh? Both asked. Anbu, the creature said, looking back at them with a smile. End of flashback. So what happened to Anbu? Lavenza asked, swinging her feet around. Naruto stopped for a moment then smiled. Oh well, Anbu talked things out with his mother. The mother was unhappy, but decided to follow her child's wishes. Anbu left with his mother, and we said our goodbyes. I think Elizabeth was the most broken-hearted since she was getting attached to him. Naruto explained. Lavenza smiled before noticing the sibling give her the signal. Naruto, I need to show you something, she said, grabbing his hand and interrupting his meal preparation. As they made their way outside, Naruto was greeted by a loud noise. Surprise! Naruto jumped back and pulled out his revolver, accidentally destroying a light bulb next to Igor. The love of Kami! What the hell is that? Naruto asked, making sure he didn't accidentally kill someone. Haven't you ever heard of a surprise party before? Theodore asked, getting a headshake. How about a party? Margaret asked, getting another headshake. Naruto, what was your childhood like? Elizabeth asked. Naruto just stayed quiet as his impassive face slowly turned into a frown as the air slowly felt more cold. It was safe to say Elizabeth would regret what she just asked. How about a birthday? Lavenza asked, making Naruto put a hand under his chin before making an angry face. Now I just realized there are more people on my crappy people list. So no princess, I've never had one. Naruto said, trying to hide his frustration. Not even the old hag said anything. He thought, remember the time he found homemade invitation he gave to her along with Shizune in the garbage. I can forgive you, Shizune, you earned it. At least the medic student apologized about it when she learned about it. Well, since today's officially your 365th day here, a record I might add, the siblings came together celebrate the completion of 1 year here. Congratulations, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Igor said with a grin. Oh yeah, all the past 5 guys aren't here for that long. I can see the special occasion. Time seemed so short. Naruto said with a laugh, earning smiles. I mean, I feel a bit sad, but at the very least I get to celebrate with my favorite people before you guys have to kick me out. He added, making everyone frown. Naruto, what do you mean? No one is kicking you out, Margaret said, feeling confused. You know how it works, Margaret. Each one of you minus Theo worked with a Persona user like me. It all ended within 10 or 11 months. It's nothing to be sad about, is it? Naruto asked. He suddenly felt something grabbing his leg to see Lavenza hugging his leg. No, Naruto. Don't leave. Stay with me, she yelled, holding a tight grip. Naruto, all those contracts ended within a year, because the requirements were met in such a short time, Margaret said. You may be correct, however, even those contracts could not be expanded past a year. I am sorry to say this, but contracts cannot be extended, renewed, and a second one cannot be given. This rule was initialized after Tatsuya Su broke his pact with Philemon, thus creating a disturbance in time. Igor explained, making Margaret stiffen. Yup, it's all here in the contract. Where is the contract again? Naruto asked, making Igor pull it out. This is it right here. Know that you can only have one, and once it is completed you are to leave, as we are no longer needed in your life," Igor said, revealing its contents to Naruto. Before he had a chance to see the document again, he felt a tug on his hand to see Lavenza's sad eyes. "Princess, don't be sad. I want you to know that no matter how much time I have left, you and everyone else mean the world to me. All the memories we have together can't change that. I'll miss you," he said, kissing her forehead and letting her go. Margaret walked up to her little sister and held her in a tight embrace as she could hear her slow breathing. "I'm sorry, little sister, but this is the way it has to be. Soon enough we'll have someone else to work with. Maybe you'll like them just as much. How does that sound?" she asked. Lavenza buried her face into her sister's dress, trying to fight back the tears. "Okay, let's get this over with," Naruto said, looking over the contents. Name: Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Birthdate: October 10th. Arcana: the Fool. Attendants: Theodore, Elizabeth, Margaret, and Lavenza. Date started: November 17th. Everyone felt anxious as to what Naruto was reading. Despite how calm everyone minus Lavenza looked, they were rather nervous about his due date. Out of all the wildcards, he's the one who GRE onto them. "I know I might sound like an idiot, but I don't know that word," Naruto said, grabbing Igor's attention. "Which one?" Igor asked. Margaret groaned, wondering if he hasn't been listening to her lessons. After all, people refused to teach him anything, and he had the literacy of an avocado when he arrived. So the eldest of the siblings took it upon herself to add basic schooling to his list of lessons. She carefully moved Lavenza away as to help her dumb friend. Igor tilted his head and was about to answer when Margaret grabbed the paper. Having Naruto point to the word, she scanned over it before covering her mouth. Looking at it, she could feel her heart beat faster, knowing how Lavenza will react. "Naruto, you idiot! I love you," she said, getting a confused look. "Are you insulting and complimenting me?" Naruto asked before being hugged. "The word is indefinite. It means lasting an extended or unknown length of time. It means there is no specific due date," Margaret explained as Lavenza ran to grab the paper herself. Purpose: message has been distorted. Expiration date: indefinite. Putting it aside, she grabbed onto Naruto with tears of joy. "So how long am I stuck here?" Naruto asked, confused if he would have to leave or not. "By default, you cannot break your contract until your duty is completed. If you read it carefully, you would understand that you are nowhere near done," Igor explained. "Well, I guess I'm here to stay for a while," Naruto stated with a bright smile before Elizabeth and Theodore grabbed onto him as well. "I'm not going to get any training done today, am I?" Naruto thought, really wishing he could test out his special kunai that his father left. Who knew sealing was his most proficient skill? In Konoha, Hokage's office. Tsunade was not having a good day. Another council meeting ended revolving around her least favorite missing Nin. After the talks, it ended with another split decision. Naruto Uzumaki was not to be sent to blood prison, but to either face execution or be used as breeding stock. Then there's the daimyo. A new one took over since the last one was arrested under suspicion of being corrupt and accepting bribery. This daimyo was a hard ass and experienced in battle, not your average pencil pusher. He started cracking down on everything ever since Naruto left. Some anonymous writer left him Sarutobi-sensei's will along with what they planned to do with Naruto. The daimyo was furious, and it only made things worse as the village lost allies ranging from wave to spring. It didn't help that Suna was taking all of these alliances for themselves while Konoha was losing prosperity. She denied that it was her fault even when the daimyo had sent investigators into the Sasuke retrieval case. It was safe to say laziness and tactics wasn't enough for a promotion anymore, as Shikamaru was sent back to remedial classes. Hell, he admitted that Temari defeated the member of Orochimaru's Sound 4 for him, while everyone else got injured. Why would the brainiac with no skill other than thinking deserve to be Chunin, let alone a shinobi? That's what the daimyo asked. After that there was this masked man, a stranger with black hair and black clothing carrying a giant sword with the ability to summon some sort of spirits. Tsunade knew this had to be Naruto from their last fight. She wasn't ready to give in and surrender. None of it was her fault. At least that's what she tells herself. He's been getting in the way of their missions and causing potential allies and clients towards Suna or some other village. Jiraiya even attempted to reverse summon him only for it to fail since Naruto's name had become distorted on the summoning scroll. It didn't help that the elders were warned ahead of time by that Philemon stranger. Gamabunta said it didn't matter as Jiraiya had seniority, but such loyalty was considered honorable when the elders Fukusaku and Shima threatened to remove Gamabunta as the Toad boss if they went after Naruto. Even Katsuyu heard the news from both Philemon and the Toads and was outraged. Refusing to hear any word of it, Katsuyu practically destroyed Tsunade, claiming her to have been too incompetent over the past years. Rarely utilizing her clan, refusing to take part of sage training, only using her for stupid things like scaring those imposters of Guy and Lee. Before she left, the slug boss threatened to remove Tsunade as her summoner should she be summoned to fight or do anything to Naruto since she was Mito-sama's distant relative. Apparently the slugs were loyal to the Uzumaki and not the village. Finally there was Jiraiya. The pervert's been getting desperate to find Naruto. Almost like he's afraid of something. Tsunade didn't understand it either, but Jiraiya had several seals ready to place on Naruto when he found him, but after every sighting he vanishes. Always accompanied by a blonde person wearing a blue outfit. His supposed contact in the Akatsuki also broke of ties with the pervert, claiming he was a bigger disgrace and would likely reveal important secrets among the elemental nations. A higher bounty for the bingo book, wouldn't you say? Sometimes she regretted taking the job. Even now she feels like the pictures of her predecessors are glaring at her. All smiles replaced with a look of disgust. Her best bet to restore order was to catch the masked man, hoping it was Naruto, and use him as leverage to regain their allies. Shizune, come in here, Tsunade ordered, prompting the brunette to enter the room. Call the rookies and their senseis, I have an important mission to assign them, she said, making Shizune send several ANBU to locate them. Time for you to come home whether you like it or not, you idiot, Tsunade thought, looking at her paper. Mission rank S. Retrieve 1 Naruto Uzumaki B rank missing Nin. Last spotted in the deserts of Suna. Retrieve alive, use force if necessary. She smirked, knowing he was just an idiot who accomplished so little in his life. He could barely beat Sasuke. What were the chances he could take them all on? I should add Jiraiya for safety, she said to herself arrogantly, although unaware of the consequences she would face. Naruto opened his eyes and looked down at the water in the pool below him before splashing. As his distance to the bottom lowered drastically, a kick to his heel started making him rotate. He rotated fast with every kick before jumping out of the water like a dolphin and falling back, and all the while doing a backflip. Stopping, he quickly repositioned himself to where he laid on his back, floating on the water. It was a good time to relax. Sure, it was late according to the moon outside the mansion, but then again time is strange here in the Velvet Mansion. It did create a nice lighting in the pool room. So why not go for a swim? You know it's pretty late to go swimming. You could catch a cold. He looked to see Margaret wearing a robe. The last person to tell me that was an effeminate man who hid behind a mask acting as if they were a trained killer. He also told me that he was nothing but a tool to assist his master. Naruto responded. Do you think I am the same? Margaret asked as she slowly removed her robe. You have free will of your own, a mind, a life, and you are loyal to Igor. However, just knowing you have free will, you think it's a sin. Naruto explained as Margaret slowly slipped into the pool. Margaret took a moment to ponder this. Maybe he was right. Although Igor had his strict rules, he didn't have her bound to be a mindless slave. Maybe some rules were meant to be broken, if there are rules she's breaking. You really need to relax more, Margaret-chan. If you were any more stressed out, you'd stiff up and lose your mind," Naruto said, kicking his legs, making him move around. Margaret almost fell before looking at the length. "Did you really have to set it 16 feet? She asked, feeling annoyed as she held tight onto the ladder rail. "I'll fix it. The only good part of Imagination Land is I can control my imagination," Naruto said with a chuckle. "It's not your mind, it's your soul. The velvet room is modeled by what your heart holds," Margaret argued. Naruto snapped his finger, and the pool's limit changed to 8 feet. Swimming towards Margaret, he leaned near her. "Better?" he asked. Margaret shook her head, a little more please. She requested, making Naruto raise a brow. Flicking his hand, it lowered to 7 feet. "How about now?" she glared. "Wait, can you not swim?" She looked away. "Don't make fun of me, Naruto. I've never had the time to enjoy leisurely activities such as swimming," Margaret explained, expecting a laugh or a smile. Instead, she felt a hand placed on her shoulder. "Margaret, I'm not laughing. I know how it feels to know how to swim. I'll just set it 4 or 5 feet," Naruto stated. Margaret smiled at the generosity until she grabbed his arm. "No, Naruto, it's fine. Maybe with all this spare time, I can learn a new skill," she said. "Are you sure? I mean, if you're not comfortable, I can make it go lower," he suggested. Margaret shook her head. "It's about time I learn a new skill," she said. Naruto moved to the side as Margaret attempted a few strokes before slowly falling. Naruto started looking a bit concerned as she tried to speed up and reach the other side. Just as he was going to go after her, she finally made it to the other side, but he could see her panting rapidly. Swimming towards her, he decided to check on her condition. "Are you okay?" he asked. Margaret nodded. "It was a bit of an experience. I think needs some cardio exercises," she said. "Margaret, if you want, I can teach you if you want," Naruto suggested. Margaret smiled. "I'd like that," she said as he took her hand. "How about we start with some basic lessons?" he asked, getting a nod. P5 OSD Encounter. For the next hour, Naruto went over the basics, explaining that she needed to remain calm and practice her breathing exercises and then work on different stroking styles and until she found the one she was fine with. Despite her calm and ladylike demeanor, she grew easily frustrated at every failed attempt, which led to her being rescued by Naruto. Despite all her ups and downs, Margaret laughed and enjoyed herself. It was a happy bonding moment. Something she hasn't felt since the time he awakened to his chakra chains and saved her from the pit in Vegetable Country. Another hour passed, and she started getting the hang of it, but needed to work out more to further improve her stamina. Slowly, but surely, the eldest of the siblings found herself exceeding at her lessons and found it fun to enjoy swimming in the water. Here she was hoping to find small talk and sit down in the pool like a jacuzzi. Now here she was swimming in 8-foot length water in a 16 by 24-foot pool. "Thank you, Naruto, I enjoyed our lessons. It was really knowledgeable," she said with a bright smile. "You're welcome, Margaret. Before we turn in, how would you like to see a fancy trick I came up with?" Naruto asked as they exited the pool. Margaret nodded, thinking it was a small parlor trick involving his water affinity technique. "Grab onto me and don't let go no matter what," he said, grabbing her hand and placing the other one around his neck. Margaret blushed at how close they were. "What are you planning?" Naruto smirked. "A little something I wanted to try. I wanted to ask Lavenza, but I thought she was too short," he said as they both carefully stepped into the pool only to feel it as a solid rather than a liquid. "Naruto, did you do something to the pool?" she asked. "No, with the way you're hanging on, I was able to spread my chakra onto you and now we can both water walk so long as you're in physical contact with me," he explained as they began to waltz. A couple minutes in, Naruto twirled her, keeping a good grip on her hand to keep her from falling. Margaret felt scared that she would fall in and drown. Naruto sensed her tension and kept a close yet soft grip around her waist. "Don't be scared, the fun part is almost here," he said, reassuring her. That's when he suddenly lifted her like a swan, making her feel more tense. Just as he put her down, he twirled her again, making the water sprout, creating several fountains around them. That's when the water below their feet rose up like a pedestal, creating a glow as if the water itself was sparkling like a diamond. Feeling awe, Naruto jumped up, carrying her in his arms like a princess. Just as Margaret was about to panic, Naruto stepped on a few water pedestals before twirling in the air with the fountains before landing safely and putting her down. "Oh my, what a rush," Margaret said. "I've been trying to test it out for a while. I thought it was a good chakra exercise with my affinity," Naruto explained. "Although it was frightening, I wouldn't mind us continuing our lessons in the near future," Margaret said optimistically. Just as Naruto was about to leave, he felt Margaret grabbing his hand. That's when she suddenly pulled him in for a hug. It was surprising, and he could see her head laying on his shoulder. "It may not look like it, but I genuinely appreciate having you by my side. You may be loud and energetic, but you make us all feel alive. I honestly felt sad thinking you were leaving us," Margaret whispered. Naruto raised her head and looked at her in the eye. "I would miss all of you too, Margaret. You're the closest thing I have to family," he said happily. "I'm glad to hear it," she said. Then the tension started. Both knew it was time to separate and depart. However, they both felt a paralysis keeping them locking in each other's arms. Margaret attempted to move first, only to slide in closer. Feeling a lack of self-control, her arms maneuvered to wrap themselves around his neck. Naruto tried to break out of the tension, only to feel his arms around her waist, slowly keeping a tight hold around her, refusing to let go. And in that moment, anyone who was watching from a third perspective could see these two stunned, wet individuals created a shadow as they blocked the bright light from tonight's full moon. Slowly but surely, both leaned as close they could as their faces were only a centimeter apart. Margaret closed her eyes and puckered her lips as Naruto made his way to connect his lips with hers. At least until they heard the turning of the door, prompting Margaret to let and push him aside. Naruto snapped out of it and snapped the other way to see Lavenza rubbing her eyes with a teddy bear in hand. "Princess, it's late, you shouldn't be out of bed," he said. "I had a nightmare and you weren't in your room," Lavenza replies, barely noticing Margaret. "Elder sister, what are you doing here?" she asked. "I couldn't sleep and I ran into Naruto, who pushed me into learning how to swim," she answered calm and collectedly. "Okay, Naruto, can you sleep with me tonight again? I'm still shaken from my dream," Lavenza said. "Sure, princess, let me hit the shower and I'll be out in a few minutes," Naruto answered, giving her a kiss on the forehead, accidentally making the water from his body drip on her. As Naruto left, Lavenza stared at her older sister in curiosity, almost as if something else was happening. Despite having abnormal intelligence and sophistication compared to a normal child, Lavenza was a child nonetheless. "Elder sister, what were you two doing?" Lavenza asked. "As I said, Lavenza, I couldn't sleep and noticed someone was using the pool room. I thought it was Theodore or Elizabeth and ran into Naruto. After a short scuffle, I admitted that I never had time to learn how to swim," Margaret explained. "Oh, I know how that feels, Margaret. Naruto also saved me from drowning that one time when we helped that bounty hunter catch Gosunkuji," Lavenza replied. Margaret smiled. That wasn't too long after he joined them. Naruto lacked any trust and wouldn't often distance himself during missions. To think he started opening up when a little girl started drowning. "Lavenza, what do you think about Naruto?" Margaret asked. "He's a good person. He's like the other ones before, but for some reason I like him more than Ren," Lavenza answered. "More than Ren? The greatest man in the world? Or is it because Ren isn't in this world that you like Naruto better?" Margaret asked, making her younger sister blush. He's really nice and always has time for me whenever he comes home. I just really hope he stays here for a long time, she said, still maintaining that blush. Lavenza, do you have any feelings for him? Margaret asked with a smirk. Do you have feelings for him, Margaret? Lavenza shot back. Touché. Margaret chuckled as Naruto came back a minute later wearing a new set of clothes. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go, princess. By Margaret-chan. Margaret blushed at the honorific as Naruto left carrying Lavenza in his arms. Maybe I do feel something, she thought. The Empress, rank 7. The next day. Starting another day with training, Naruto left several clones working a few in jutsu, another group on kenjutsu, and one more on taijutsu, leaving him alone on his special project. From what little he knows, his father the Yondaime Hokage created the Rasengan inspired by a Baijidama, and the Hiraishin was originally made by the Nidaime, only he finished it. Okay, maybe his father wasn't the genius everyone said he was. No member of young generation knew his name either, as if it were a dark secret. Regardless, it was his turn to plagiarize a technique and modify it in order to consider it finished. That made sense, right? Forgetting what was going through his head, Naruto worked on intensifying the Rasengan, hoping for it to evolve in some way. Like making it ranged or making it into a drill-like attack. The main focus of this technique hits the target and impacts it internally instead of drilling through or damaging the target externally. It may have a high rank, but that's because it relies heavily on chakra control and no hand seals. As of now, Naruto had officially finished it by adding a layer of elements. The greatest achievement behind it was that this was before he learned about the side effect of his elements being manipulated behind his personas. From the chakra paper he managed to get, his affinity was for wind, but because of his training he's been able to manipulate other elements depending on which persona he's using. Taking Galahad for example, he would be able to use fire and be able to use basic jutsus like Great Fireball. The drawback is that it costs as much energy as making his personas use their own elemental attacks, and not only that, the strength depends on his persona itself. Another example would be Pixie vs. Thor. Both have the lightning element, but the latter is a lot stronger with it, which allows him to use much stronger lightning techniques. Enough of his elemental ninjutsu, he decided to take a break after a long session of training. Entering the kitchen, he grabbed himself a couple of water bottles and chugged them both one by one. Taking a breath afterwards, he felt his sword vibrating. Not that sword, you idiot! Pulling out the sealing scroll containing his weapon, he saw it retract into the thin sword, revealing several drawers. Wondering who's thinking of him, he rummaged around the containers until pulling one out. The Empress? Naruto asked himself. Taking a look at it, he read the update. Rank 7/10. Margaret is one of your early confidants. Despite being polar opposites and not trusting one another, your friendship had blossomed to where she was once taking care of you. You in return have taken care of her. Feeling in your debt, Margaret will work very hard to return the favor. Maybe at one point discover the key to open her heart. Margaret-chan's lost, huh? Must be a spiritual thing. Maybe I can figure out her problem later. Naruto said, putting it aside. He wandered out to find Igor standing against the wall with his arms crossed. Something wrong? He asked. Your friend Gaara is in need of assistance. However, he cannot find you, hence the reason why I am telling you now. Igor explained. Naruto rolled his hands into fists. When do I leave? He asked. Today preferably. It appears he is facing a dangerous enemy. I recommend taking everyone who is not busy, Igor said in a serious tone. Something was off. Igor's predictions were never wrong, but they didn't always lead to good things. Thinking about this, Naruto knew he had to prepare for the worst. Doing so, he ran to his room and went into the box behind a compartment behind where he kept the portrait of his parents. Going through it, he pulled out several kunai. Taking the time to carefully pack what he needed, he went to approach all of the siblings. All of this felt ominous, and he didn't like it. Later in Suna. Gaara was pacing back and forth in his office. Yes, his office. Within a few months' time he would be named Kazekage and succeed his father. However, that wasn't what he was worried about. It was his student Matsuri. The young girl was kidnapped by a group of criminals known as the Four Celestials. He didn't understand what they wanted, but he knew that he had to save her. However, the issue was Suna couldn't spare anyone to save her. The only people willing to go besides himself were his older brother and sister. He didn't want to do it, but he had little to no choice. He had to ask Konoha to assist him. It wasn't his pride that kept him from wanting their help, it was a matter of who they were. A bunch of backstabbing traitors. Word got out from a stranger that reached words of the Fire Daimyo that Naruto was going to be sent to Blood Prison for completing the Sasuke retrieval mission. That made his blood boil to the point he was willing to let Shikaka free again and finish what Naruto stopped him from doing. However, he had no choice as they had no other allies other than Taki, who was a smaller village, and they were far away. Then suddenly he felt a change in the wind. He knew this feeling, and it made him smile. A genuine smile so few have seen and one he rarely made. "I'm glad you are here, my friend." "Naruto Namikaze, was it?" Gaara asked. The figure jumped out from his hiding place. "Surnames aren't important. Just take a look at who I'm talking to," said the figure, revealing it to be Naruto in his new outfit. It was strange for Gaara. Sure, he's seen his friend wear the strange new outfit, but it still bothered him. It was definitely an improvement over the orange jumpsuit, but the colors felt off. Then there was that giant sword he carried around, it felt ominous. "Very well, you managed to find out about my need for your help?" Gaara asked. "I did, my new employer told me about your call," Naruto said cryptically. Gaara nodded, knowing Naruto couldn't say much about whoever was in charge of him. "Very well, my student and good friend Matsuri was kidnapped by 4 people known as the Celestial Four. Their reason is to get to me, but why I don't know," he explained. "Whatever it is, they likely know who you are and what you contain. If anything, they might be like the Akatsuki, seeing as they want our bijou. We need to tread carefully. They might have an idea of how to fight a Jinchuriki because no sane person would do this without a tactical plan." Naruto beepized. "When did you become so intelligent?" Gaara asked. "When you open your eyes and your ears, you begin to open your mind and accept the world for what it is. If you don't like it, then change it," Naruto explained, making Gaara nod. "Very well, I will go fetch Temari and Kankuro, seeing as you are willing to help me. Do you have your assistant with you?" Gaara asked, hoping he didn't come alone. "All 4 of them." Gaara raised a brow. "Wait, does he even have eyebrows?" "I have more than one, they just rotate," Naruto explained. "Meet us at the gate when you are ready," Gaara said, leaving his office. Author's note: okay, I'm sorry, but I'm skipping to the end. I just skipped to this last arc on Netflix, and felt like I was smoking crack when I saw some guy go Super Saiyan. In all honesty, the writers were just making a bad copy of the Akatsuki, and apparently, this happened at least 2 more times to Gaara. So overall, let's skip this since I doubt any other writer was willing to write all the filler arcs. Even I tried, and look how long the last chapter was, and that was covering 3 arcs, and only one of those arcs was 1 episode. A very long time later. After defeating the Power Rangers or Servants of Red or whatever the hell they were, Gaara was able to control his transformation, keeping Shikaku under lock and key. Matsuri was safe too, by the way, and nobody died. I think I'm likely not going to watch this filler arc, but hey, you guys are just here to watch the epic fight before the time skip begins, because some of you were as confused and lost as I was when I reread my story. Putting the random thoughts from the author aside, Naruto was thanked by Gaara for his assistance along with Matsuri, who was very grateful. The rest of the siblings were happy to help in this fight as well, despite how uneventful it is, as nobody will ever speak of it again. All the celebrating, if you could call it that, was interrupted when several kunai landed beside the group. "Paper bomb, get down!" Naruto yelled, but Gaara acted first and covered the explosives with a sand shield. Looking up, Naruto could see the enemy ahead. An enemy he really didn't want to see. Konoha made its arrival. P5 OST Desire. You gave us quite the chase, but now it's over, said a voice revealing Jiraiya. You decided to chase pubescent boys now? Clearly you're just copying what Orochimaru does at this point, Jiraiya. Naruto retorted. Still as cheeky as ever, brat. Now let's go so you can face proper punishment back in the village, Jiraiya said as the Jounin senseis arrived arming themselves. Care to enlighten me as to what crime I've committed? Naruto asked, putting his mask aside. Abandoning your village. And what was my reason for abandoning it? You were supposed to be sent to prison for completing a mission. You severely attacked the Uchiha when he refused to return home. You were supposed to drag his ass back by any means necessary. I was there with Shikamaru. How is he, by the way? I heard someone realize that a Nara has to be both smart and good at fighting. Why else were they a clan in the first point? Naruto mocked. Don't you mock my student! Asuma yelled. Asuma, what would you know? In reality, they may have the best teamwork, but in turn they're the second worst team. Second to mine, obviously, Naruto said. P5 OST Blood of Villain. Don't let him flatter you, Kurenai warned. You wish it was flattery, Kurenai. You're just as bad as Asuma. You lead a tracking who can do the job, but they're all weak. Kiba is still arrogant, and relies on spamming the exact same attacks using food pills if they fail the first time. Shino is going to get killed by a bug zapper one of these days, if not someone with a large cigarette lighter, and Hinata can barely put her fists up. Naruto explained, making Kurenai flinch. She wanted to retort, but a flashback of her days starting of her training her team revealed that they haven't grown. All she could see herself was babying Hinata and making them work out their physical flaws such as speed and strength while relying on their most predictable techniques. Hinata barely managed to save her team if it wasn't for Hinata building her own resolve when they went to search for the rare Baikochu beetle. It took Hinata's own willpower to become strong. She should be proud that Hinata realized her own strength, but it took nearly a year, which could have been done in a month had Kurenai saw them as shinobi and not children. Kurenai, snap out of it, Asuma yelled. That's when Asuma saw it too. He could see Shikamaru using nothing but his brains to survive by a hair. Despite his intelligence, he didn't point out the potential failure in Genin's going on an S-rank mission. Kiba and Choji both could have died, and Shikamaru came back with a broken finger, having to be saved by Temari, who could have used her time to help out Naruto or Gaara. In the end, it was his fault that none of his genin today are ready for the world either. Kakashi jumped out preparing a gain jutsu with his eye and ran to Naruto. Then suddenly Naruto smirked, Kakashi's eye widened, realizing that something was up. But it was too late when Naruto blew up, sending the scarecrow flying. Did he just commit suicide? Kurenai asked. Lavenza was about to run in when Theodore put a hand in front of her. He's a shinobi like his father, remember? He asked with a grin. The joining and Sannin turned their heads to see several of the genin being knocked out of the trees and landing hard. Sasuke took it the worst since he landed on his head. Where is he? Asuma asked. Naruto appeared on a branch. I see talking things out never worked, but answer me this. I want to hear it from Kakashi and Jiraiya, he said. What do you want to know? Jiraiya asked, narrowing his eyes. What is the difference between you and Zabuza? Naruto asked. The answer: he had honor and fought for what he believed in. The Mizukage thanked me for returning his sword, and in return that he be remembered as a hero, Naruto said before disappearing in smoke. Zabuza was just another criminal, Kakashi yelled. Says the grave robber. Kakashi turned only to receive a headbutt. You're surrounded, Naruto. There's no way to escape this, Jiraiya said. The Velvet siblings and Sand siblings were ready to gather up when Naruto put his hand up. "You seven stay out of this. This is my fight," he said. "Naruto, you can't handle them alone," Margaret yelled out. "She's right, brothers stick together," said Gaara. "Only a monster would consider another monster his brother," Sakura said, mocking the two Jinchuriki. "Why don't you die from a vaginal infection already?" Temari asked. Naruto then snapped his fingers, creating several hundred clones. "I said I got this," he yelled, surrounding the Konoha team. Both squads of siblings ignored Naruto's decision and jumped in to help the fight. Team 10, what's left of it? P5 OST Blooming Villain. Despite being unaware of which Naruto was the real one, they all took their time to fight each clone. Asuma found himself distracted fighting a small group. "Okay, kid, once I find out which one of you is the real one, I'm gonna drag your ass back to Konoha," Asuma said arrogantly. "Yeah, back to failures 2 and 3. Good for you, Asuma. At least now you know your father has a legacy he stand," Naruto said. "I was a member of the 12 Guardian Ninja." "What would you know?" Asuma asked, engaging one in a knife fight. "A lot, actually. However, my own didn't survive his term as Hokage," said another clone, trying to strike from behind. Asuma knew what he was talking about. He was one of the few that could piece it together. It didn't matter, he had to serve the wishes of the Gon Daime, not the Yon Daime. So, keeping his defenses up, he found himself having to avoid several fire jutsus, only to land on a nearby lake. Naruto smirked and slammed his hands down, causing the water to bubble. Before Asuma could jump out of the way, he felt liquid tendrils pull him down the water. Trying to swim up, he found it difficult to reach the top. Like he's trapped in a cage similar to Kakashi's water trap. However, whenever he reached the top, it felt like he was trapped inside gelatin. Not liking his situation, he did what he could to break the line. More clones arrived and surrounded Ino and Choji. "Choji, I got an idea. What if I break into the mind of one of these Baka clones and make it tell me where the real Baka is?" Ino suggested, only to get a face that says, "And you think I'm the idiot?" She did not like that look. "Trust me, they're solid so, and they fight on their own when he doesn't command them." "Hey fat ass, why don't you hurry up already?" a clone taunted. "You're dead, Naruto," Choji yelled. "I was talking to the fat one in the miniskirt," the same clone said, making Choji blush in embarrassment for some reason. "Of course he's talking to you. Do I look fat to you?" Ino barked. "Well, he did say." Choji was interrupted by a punch to the head. "He was talking to you," Ino yelled more. "No, I was talking to you, Piggy-chan. Now you're the one implying that he's fat," another clone said. Choji suddenly grew mad as his eyes turned all white. "What? You're trying to pass insults to me? Ino, you're so dead," he yelled, chasing after her. "Choji, he's trying to mess with you," Ino yelled, running for her life only to trip and fall, barely giving her time to catch her breath. Choji soon arrived, trying to attack Ino in a fit of blind rage, only to take several sanban to the neck, knocking him out. "Thanks for catching him for me, Piggy-chan," a clone complimented. "Why you? Mind-body transfer jutsu," she said, going limp. Surprisingly, no clones went limp and Ino went back to her body. "How did that not work?" she demanded. "We're solid, not sentient. You should have studied using books and not fashion magazines," the clone mocked. "Hey, I don't need some lame book. After all, with my diet and exercise, I'm going to kick your ass," Ino yelled, running, throwing several sloppy punches only to receive a kick to the face. A few minutes later, Ino found herself panting at an unhealthy rate as each clone took a turn attacking her. Her lack of stamina and speed made it difficult for her to keep up, and her endurance was just as bad. These clones were holding back, and she looked battered already. Ino may seem like a capable kunoichi in one-on-one fights, especially in taijutsu, but that's against mid to below genin level opponents. Thus she was defeated and fell limp on the ground. Team 8. Kurenai weaved through several hand seals, smirking as the army of clones. Her smirk changed to surprise when she took a kick to the head, making her hit the ground. Looking up, she noticed more clones approaching. Shino attempted to shield the team and hopefully drain the clones with his insects. That's what his first mistake. One clone jumped in the center, blowing several flames from his mouth, burning all of his insects. Kiba managed to destroy the clone on time, but that didn't stop the next two that were dashing at Shino and firing several balls of fire, destroying his defense completely. Hinata managed to get the drop and used her gentle fist to pop them, along with defending the Aburami as he fell down from exhaustion. Shino, you okay, man? Kiba asked, helping him up. Not really, that fire took a toll on my hive. I'm not sure if I can handle fighting much longer. How is he doing this? Shino asked. Shino, he used his fire jutsu. I know this sounds weird coming from a guy like me, but Naruto outsmarted you, Kiba said. Impossible, he doesn't know much ninjutsu, Shino said, denying someone like Naruto could outsmart someone like him. Well, I did, now time to finish you off. Both turned to see Hinata smirking evilly. Hinata? Shino asked, only to be shocked at the sight of Naruto replacing her. Henge! Kiba yelled, jumping back. Sadly, Shino was lifted into the air by his jacket and electrocuted enough to be knocked out. Consider this part of your debt, Kiba. I'll let you and Akamaru walk away from this one, Naruto said, dropping Shino. Kiba hesitated and saw his sensei going through more signs. Sensei, stop. Clones are immune to gain jutsu, he said. Kurenai doubted his words, which ended with her not noticing all the insects surrounding her. Shino, what are? She went wide-eyed, remembering Shino lost most of his bugs and was currently on the ground, passed out. Surprise! Said the bugs as they were revealed to be Naruto in disguise. Kurenai pulled out her kunai only for it to be too late as the clones surrounded. Her arrogance as a jounin was her undoing. The clones wouldn't stop coming, and despite her experience and ran, Kurenai was known as the Gain Jutsu Mistress for a reason. Her skills dominantly relied on something that wouldn't help her. Nobody would say it to her face, but the only reason she achieved her title was because Itachi went rogue. With that said, with a final beating and kick to the head, Kurenai fell back unconscious. Kiba and Akamaru ran to her side, ready to defend her. Naruto, you won, so just give Hinata-chan back and we'll back off, Kiba said, keeping a kunai on hand in case. Naruto nodded and snapped his fingers, revealing a couple of his clones carrying Hinata and gently placing her down. What did you do to her? Kiba asked. The clone snapped his finger and hinged into himself with pecs and large muscles. Kiba facepalmed at the thought. Even if Hinata was weary of Naruto, she couldn't help but to imagine him shirtless. Hinata may have not been a fangirl to the naked eye, but that was because she was following another piece of meat. Kankuro and Temari ran up, taking their positions, only for the clone raise an arm. We're done here. He surrendered, the clone said. You sure? Kankuro asked. Yeah, we got a deal if you want to call it that. Just let him go, the clone said. Kiba nodded thankfully and created his own shadow clones to carry his sensei and Shino while he carried Hinata like a princess. Thanks, Naruto, and I'm sorry for what happened to you, Kiba said with some sorrow in his voice before retreating. The clone nodded thankfully before dispelling, leaving Temari and Kankuro having to help fight somewhere else. The Chariot, Rank 5. With Team Guy. This time, Naruto had a more difficult time. A team with actual no, not teamwork, more like skill, was actually keeping the clones at bay. Sadly, this was drawing in most of the clones, and it was thanks to the defeat of the other teams, he was able to hold them off. Naruto, you are as youthful as ever, whether you wear our headband or not. I will find the real one and defeat you, Lee yelled, punching out another clone. Crap, the boss is too busy fighting the pervert. We need to finish this fast, one of the clones thought. Narrowly avoiding several more kunai from Tenten, the clone found himself in front of Niji. Just as he was about to take the hit. Crack. The clone was wide-eyed and saw Theo missing his jacket and doing his own version of a dynamic entry kick to Niji's head. Those taijutsu lessons are working well for me. We should spar more often, Theo said, rolling up his sleeves. You were that man with Naruto when he wore that mask and made us fail that mission, Niji said, recovering. Yes, I am Theodore. As I can see from your style, you need a lesson in manners, Theo said, pulling out his book, Uriel, to my side. He said, revealing a female with gold armor and wings. Lee was about to jump in when a wall of sand appeared and grabbed him. Time for our rematch, don't you think? He recognized that monotone voice anywhere. Lee looked scared as he still felt fear, remembering that Gaara tried to kill him twice. Even if he was nice and open to other, Lee was not at the least happy to fight Gaara. With that said, Tenten attempted to run in and help cut Lee out, only for her weapons to get stuck in the sand. Lee, hold still, aloof. Tenten found herself smacked into a tree. I guess it's rematches all around, Temari said, making her appearance as well. Naruto, you should save the rest of your clones for your teammates and the Sannin, Gaara suggested. The clone nodded and regrouped with the others to join on their assault on Kakashi, Jiraiya and his teammates. Team 7. Lavenza arrived earlier and began to beat Sakura senselessly with a baton, leaving the poor Rosette to curl up and cry as the little girl continued to beat her without mercy. This is for hurting Naruto. A big forehead monster like you deserves this treatment, Lavenza yelled until she was sure that the cherry blossom lost consciousness. Margaret tried to hold her back from accidentally killing Sakura from all the hitting, while Elizabeth had fun taunting Kakashi and Sasuke. So you two think you're special because of your eyes? Elizabeth asked with devious smile. I am an Uchiha, what do you think? Sasuke asked, trying to hide his exhaustion from fighting this woman. Even Kakashi started sweating. Elizabeth hasn't even begun to attack them and they can't even land a hit on her. They didn't like that evil smile of hers as she opened up her book, revealing some strange playing card coming from inside of it. Thor! She yelled, summoning the god of thunder before her. Raikiri! Chidori! Thor merely stood his ground as both lightning users ran at him with full speed. Elizabeth smirked as Odin slapped Kakashi away and smacked Sasuke in the ribs with his hammer. Laughing, he raised his hammer in the air and called out his Maziodyne skill, knocking them both on the ground. Fools, you can't defeat the god of thunder with merely electricity. You may manipulate the elements, but I command them, Thor said, going after them. Hopefully Naruto can deal with the toad, Elizabeth said. We should stay close just in case, Margaret suggested, restraining Lavenza, who was still trying to attack Sakura. End of song. With Jiraiya. Naruto swiped at Jiraiya with his heavy sword, who dodged it. So you learned how to swing a sword, so what? Jiraiya mocked. I learned, I practiced, and I had proper assistance. You wouldn't know because you were never a good teacher, Naruto shot back. You were sloppy and had issues. I didn't have time to help a spoiled kid, Jiraiya spat. I can imagine this was the reason Sarutobijiji picked Orochimaru over you in everything, Naruto said. Jiraiya gritted his teeth and shot his hair needles at him before slamming the ground, creating a swamp. Seeing this, Naruto created several clones and jumped on each one to escape the pit. Hariardi! A female holding a child appeared. Zyonga! Jiraiya narrowly avoided a lightning strike. Wait for my signal, Hariardi. The woman nodded. Valkyrie! Rising slash! A woman riding on a horse appeared as she slashed at Jiraiya from behind with her twin swords. Jiraiya didn't have time to avoid it and took another lightning strike, knocking him into a tree. Naruto took this chance and formed a Rasengan. "How you still need?" Jiraiya quickly ate his words before they came out as a Rasengan quickly appeared with sharp edges. "That's an illusion. You're using the QB to enhance." "Shut the hell up, dead last!" Naruto yelled, slamming the Rasengan into his gut. Recovering, he created several mud dragons towards Naruto, only for the latter to create earth walls. Continuing his assault, Jiraiya avoided several kunai and shuriken strikes and started throwing his own in case some were just hinged shadow clones. However, a look of horror came to his face when he saw his worst fear. A tri-pronged kunai went past his face and cut his cheek. Then suddenly, "You're dead, old man!" Naruto yelled, kicking his face, sending him sliding into the ground. "You stole your father's jutsu?" he yelled in outrage. "No, you kept it away. Even Sarutobi didn't trust you with it. Why else would he make sure that the seals were modified to never allow anyone except his own blood access the mansion?" Naruto asked, drawing his blade again, preparing its special ability. "Because he's a senile old man who died like the fool he is. Even if I did want the title, I'd do a better job than him and not be the failure he was," Jiraiya snapped, forming his own Rasengan. Odama Rasengan. Wind Style Rasengan. Both jutsus collided, and as Jiraiya thought he was winning due to his size and amount of energy, he felt a sharp arm pain as he felt a hole being drilled, making his ball of chakra dissipate into nothing before taking a heavy dose of wind chakra into his hand. Jiraiya gripped his arm in pain as Naruto drop-kicked him. Having enough, Jiraiya fired several more needles only for them to be blocked by the heavy sword that shrunk and split into dual broadswords. "What the hell did you do to Kushina's swords?" Jiraiya demanded. "I found its secret. It's an Uzumaki rite of passage to discover its name along with wielding it," he said, pointing it at Jiraiya's face. "As of now, I'm worthy of being the Uzumaki clan head," he said. "You're just a rogue nin. A child at best. That clan belongs to Tsunade Harem. It was her grandmother's clan," Jiraiya yelled, charging him. Naruto took a deep breath and let his mask reappear. He closed his eyes and relaxed his muscles as if time was slowly, and his body slowly felt less stiff and less sluggish every passing second as he relaxed his muscles. Taking deep breaths, he kept the twin blades close at heart in a cross position. Then he opened his eyes and jumped towards his disgraced teacher. Moving his arms, he began to spin around like a tornado and slashed Jiraiya several dozen times, making the huge A8 trigrams technique look clumsy. Naruto removed his mask and loosed as Jiraiya fell down, collapsing on his chin. The old man wasn't ready to give up and was about to use his trump card. He stood up and watched his impassive former student stare him down as if he was high and mighty. He didn't care for some family crap. Jiraiya was an orphan, and Sarutobi-sensei never once acknowledged him in his younger years until he made Sannin. It was all about his high-class and genius teammates. How he hated the old monkey. So Jiraiya made his hand seals and slammed the ground, summoning jutsu. Then Gamabunta arrived. "Jiraiya, what the hell are you summoning for?" Gamabunta asked. "He's trying to get rid of me, boss." Gamabunta looked down at the black-haired boy. "Who the hell are you supposed to be, brat?" the toad boss asked. "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the son of the deceased Yandai Minato Namikaze and Whirlpool Princess Kushina Uzumaki. The same brat your sage screwed over and abandoned," Naruto yelled. "Kid, don't lie. Jiraiya told me he's been having to raise your spoiled ass since you were born. Always complaining, always demanding. Why the hell do you think I barely pass you? Minato would be ashamed of you." Gamabunta sneered until he felt a cold amount of ki spreading. "Is that what he told you? That he raised me and I was a spoiled brat?" he asked in a dark tone. "That he acts as if he entered my life? This bastard didn't meet me until over a year ago. Even then I asked him to train me and he refused so he could peep on women at the hot spring calling eye research." Naruto yelled as his ki reached high Kage levels that made the boss shiver. "That's not what he told me. He said that he along with Tsunade raised you and..." Then where's his evidence? Bunta don't. Evidence? Did he even show you a picture? Even introduce me? Shouldn't the great toad sages have mentioned me? Kid, trust me. They already know. I'm sure they along with Katsuyu can back him up. Gamabunta said in defiance. Summoning jutsu, Naruto yelled, revealing the elders. What are we doing here? Asked Shima. Shima, look, it's Naruto boy. Fukasaku pointed out. Oh Naruto boy, how are you, and why is Jiraiya boy on Gamabunta's head? She demanded. Listen, I can explain. Jiraiya spoke until he was interrupted. I wasn't asking you, Jiraiya boy. Bunta, tell me what's going on. Shima said, getting a nod from Fukasaku. Gamabunta went on to tell them that Naruto was just a spoiled child in his rebellious phase and that Jiraiya and Tsunade have been raising him since day one. That how Naruto is just lying, spewing about evidence, and that Jiraiya is a veteran summoner. Believing in his words, Gamabunta backed up Jiraiya, not noticing how nervous the pervert looked. Bunta, you idiot! Jiraiya boy said he left him with Sarutobi-sama thinking he would be fine and live his days as an orphan. Even Enma confirmed this after the San Dayame passed away. Fukasaku yelled, feeling his patience run out. Didn't it occur to you he didn't even have a photo of the boy? Shima asked. You see the sake. Don't play the drunk slug sage with me, mister. Shima yelled. Jiraiya, why did you lie to me? Now I'm in trouble too, you dumbass. Gamabunta yelled, realizing his mistake. Wait, Katsuyu can back me up. She can confirm my story because I bet Tsunade said the truth as well. Jiraiya lied. You better be right. Gamabunta yelled as the slug boss herself arrived. Gamabunta, this is a surprise, and are we in the middle of a war zone? Katsuyu asked. Katsuyu, you've been with Tsunade-chan for many years, correct? The slug boss nodded. Okay, did she ever tell you what happened to Minato and Kushina's child? Fukasaku asked. Oh, he lived a happy life under Sarutobi-sama's care in an orphanage. Tsunade said she needed to get over her depression with leaving her loved ones and thought having a child with her would only hurt poor Naruto-chan. Why do you ask? Well, you see, Shima trailed off. 10 minutes later. Waha away, Katsuyu yelled, shaking most of the forest. This was followed by much use of inappropriate language. The still conscious genin were all scared shitless hearing the slug boss constantly swearing. Gaara even made a face where his eyes popped out and his mouth was wide opened as if his teeth were falling. Imagine Enno when he learned he can't beat Luffy with lightning, leaving Matsuri frightened at his expression. Margaret covered Lavenza's ears as best she could while Elizabeth looked stunned at hearing everything. Theodore was holding a coffee mug for some odd reason and it fell off the handle and shattered on the ground. Temari and Kankuro were confused as to what was happening and Naruto wasn't even sure how to contemplate what happened. Naruto-chan, as an apology, I would like to see you the next time you summon Gamabunta and the two sages. I have to prepare an apology gift for Mito-sama's idiotic granddaughter, Katsuyu said before leaving. I can't say much since I only have one summoner. Bunta, what are you talking about? Shima asked. Bunta, did you kick Naruto off the scroll? Jiraiya asked with a smirk. Sorry, do I know you? Gamabunta asked. Bunta, don't play that game. Jiraiya deadpanned. Nope, sorry, what are you even doing on my head, stranger? Gamabunta asked, acting oblivious. I'm your summoner. It's been that way for nearly 40 years. Jiraiya yelled in annoyance. That's when the scroll suddenly appeared. Nope, my contract is a rite of passage for family members and only Namikaze members are allowed in. Jiraiya opened the scroll and looked horrified. Hey, what do you know? There is nobody named Jiraiya. Fukasaku pointed out, making Naruto smirk. You guys can't do this to me. All my hard work down the drain. This is all I have. Jiraiya was interrupted by a punch to the face by Naruto. Thank you, Naruto boy, and as for you, Jiraiya, you never even bothered to finish sage training. From the looks of it, you were more concerned with pornography and from Naruto's testament. He learned how to finish Minato boy's jutsu on his own while you took his money on alcohol and prostitutes. Fukasaku pointed out. Well, if Minato was here, he would be disappointed in you, Jiraiya. You've done nothing to preserve his memory. All you've done is scorn him. Have you ever considered how humans react to Jinchuriki, or were you too idiotic to think about that? Shima yelled. Jiraiya didn't even meet their gazes as he growled, Do you know how I felt? No, you don't. It's always about the genius. Always pity the other orphan. Give them all the attention and praise. And what do I get? Paid sex? Remorse? No, I get hit by the only woman who I have feelings for, and my student gets me the respect and attention I deserve, only to die and leave me his brat. He yelled, losing. P5 OSD Jaldabaeth. Naruto looked impassive as he kept one hand behind his back. Do you know what Sarutobi-sensei told me about the damn brat? That he would make a finer Hokage than him. That he would surpass Minato, and even myself. He figured out his damn jutsu in a week, and now he has the Hiraishin. But you know what really makes me pissed off? Jiraiya asked as the madness in his eyes and voice made the sages shiver. Naruto focused his chakra and started pouring his energy, forming a different kind of jutsu. He said that he might even take him on as a student. A student that wasn't a failure in his eyes. Jiraiya yelled as he finally snapped. Then let's see how the success deals with this failure. Jiraiya yelled, running at Naruto in the speed of light, passing the sages. Run, Naruto boy. He's going to kill you. Brat, what the hell are you doing standing around? Let's see who the real failure is. Jiraiya yelled, forming the biggest Rasengan he could. Naruto stared him down and grabbed his wrist in a painful bone-breaking grip that made Tsunade look like a Girl Scout. P5 OSTR beginning. It's you, and it always will be, Naruto yelled as he revealed a shuriken jutsu made of wind chakra. Raisen Shuriken, Naruto yelled, slamming his jutsu, creating a giant gaping blast, sending a fried Jiraiya 100 meters in front of Naruto. Holy shit, what the hell was that jutsu? Gamabunta asked, only to get ignored. Seeing as we've fixed our internal affairs, it is best to let Naruto boy to dish out his punishment to Jiraiya boy, Fukasaku said as he disappeared with his fellow clan members. Kakashi and Sasuke were on their last limbs when they saw Jiraiya crashing through several trees and hills. They looked to see Naruto slowly making his way to the Sannin with a bloody broken arm. Sasuke smirked, and at his former teammate with a Chidori on his hand. Sasuke, no! We need him alive! Kakashi yelled. I'm the Uchiha, so I choose whatever the mission objective is. So I decide it's an assassination mission, Sasuke barked. Sasuke as your superior. F*** off Hataki. Talk to me when you have a jutsu to teach me, Sasuke yelled. But he's your friend. Pfft, a punching bag maybe. He's just dead weight, even you saw that. Why else didn't you bother training him? Sasuke asked, making Kakashi feel paralyzed as his words hit home. Die dobe! Naruto merely stuck out his bloody hand and grabbed the assassination jutsu and grabbed Sasuke by the throat with the other. I don't have time to deal with a pathetic egotistical bastard like you, Naruto yelled as he shattered Sasuke's arm, making him scream in pain. Tossing him on the ground, Sasuke tried to retreat by crawling away, only to be pulled back by his legs. Looking up, he saw Naruto pull out a seal. I'm not done. I'm taking away your pride, Naruto yelled, slamming the seal on his chest. Fuin! Sasuke screamed as he was covered in black electricity, making his eyes burn. What are you doing to me? Sasuke demanded as the pain didn't stop. I took away what's most important to you. Your dojutsu. You'll never use the Sharingan ever again. Naruto yelled as Sasuke suddenly felt vision impairment. You're lying. I'm an Uchiha. An elite. I won't let some crappy drawing stop me. Sasuke yelled, pouring every ounce of chakra into his eyes. Why won't this work? Answer me, he demanded. You're not an Uchiha anymore. Not without your eyes, that is. You're just a petty commoner like everyone else. Naruto yelled, shoving a Rasengan into Sasuke's chest, sending him flying into Kakashi. Naruto, you bastard! Sasuke yelled as he crashed into his sensei. Naruto continued forward until several more Konoha ANBU arrived, with Tsunade walking in. Not bothering to listen to her lecture, Naruto formed a single-hand seal. I don't have time for this, he yelled, slamming his hand onto the ground. Wood style, prison box. He yelled, shocking Tsunade as a large cage trapped her and her ANBU. Naruto, you won't get away this time, Tsunade yelled, punching the cage only to feel her arm almost shatter. Don't bother, that thing is as strong as steel, Naruto said, passing them. Tenzo, Tsunade signaled. On it, said the lion-masked ANBU, only to feel several wooden stakes pierce his legs and drain his chakra. Tsunade and the other ANBU attempted to break free, only to feel their chakra drain and the wood standing tall and strong. They could only watch as he approached Jiraiya slowly. At the sight of the man, Naruto spat on him and repeatedly kicked him. Naruto, stop! Margaret yelled. He's had enough, Lavenza yelled. Asuma resurfaces after a while, kick his ass, he yelled. Whose side are you on? Asked Tenzo, who was in pain. Asuma looked around, noticing this mission may have failed. Then suddenly several Sunanin arrived in a large battalion, surrounding everyone. They all just watched as Naruto picked up the former Toad Sage and began to pummel him. FMA, BOSD main theme. Jiraiya pushed away his former godson and took his own stance. I'll kill you here myself. F*** Minato's wish, he yelled, throwing a sloppy punch. Naruto caught it and twisted it, followed by a kick to the face. Not giving him time to breathe, Naruto lifted him up by his legs and twirled around and tossed him another 100 meters. Jiraiya quickly stood up and went through a few hand seals until Naruto beat him to it. Wood style, pummel parade. Several wooden fists surrounded the Sannin and began to punch him repeatedly. Continuing his assault, Naruto threw his tri-pronged kunai, making it stab Jiraiya in the shoulder. Nobody noticed it, but several nin from all 5 of the Big Five arrived to see the fight. Everyone was shocked to see Naruto use the Haraishin and appeared in front of Jiraiya's face, leaving a bloody dent. Get up, you pervert! I'll show you how outclassed you are, Naruto yelled, picking him up and punching him around like a balloon. I don't understand. How can a genin, a dead last, a loser, the idiot of Konoha, beat me with his own stubby hands? Jiraiya thought as he landed hard on his back. Naruto, please stop, Lavenza pleaded with tears in her eyes. Naruto, this isn't you, Theodore yelled. Don't become a monster, Elizabeth yelled. Full metal, Margaret yelled, which got weird looks from everyone. Naruto just straddled his former godfather and began to punch him in the face repeatedly. Letting the animal out of its cage, Naruto let all his years of abuse out on the one of 2 people who could have prevented it. The tears fell out of his eyes as he punched the old man every time. All the sacrifice, all the hard work, and all Naruto wanted was to be acknowledged. Gaara was about to intervene when a familiar pattern of red and black appeared. Naruto drew his mother's sword and was about to decapitate the old man and end it once and for all. Until... clang. That's enough, Naruto. The former blonde looked up to see the raven-haired murderer standing above him. No matter how much pain he's put you through, I can't allow another monster to exist in this world, he said. End of song. Itachi, let me go, Naruto demanded. No, you've gone too far. Look around you, Itachi said. Naruto looked around and saw Gaara ready to jump in. Suna's forces just watched and waited to see what would happen. Konoha was trapped, being forced to watch, and what made him feel bad. He saw his new family fearing what he's become. Worst of all, he could see his princess crying. He hurt her the most. Naruto let go of his sword, letting it fall. Getting up, he drew a circle with a pentagram and threw 5 kunai at all the points. What is that? What are you planning? Itachi asked, worried. Rentenjutsu. I'm sealing away all his memories and abilities to use sealing and anything he stole from my parents. After that, I'm returning home, Naruto said, activating several sparks that entered Jiraiya, ripping away all his skills. Is it done? Itachi asked. Yes, I need to return home, Naruto said, gripping his arm as it's still messed up. Before you go, I have the scrolls you needed, Itachi said, revealing 3 scrolls, 1 with the Uchiha crest and 2 with the Uzumaki crest. Naruto took them. Thank you, Gaara, I think I'll be leaving now. Sorry about the mess, Naruto said. Gaara nodded. Take care, my friend, and thank you for everything, he said as Theodore grabbed Naruto and helped him to the gate. After they left, Gaara turned his head to the trapped Konoha ninja as Suna's forces followed behind him. I take it you're here to pick up your genin for assaulting my group. When we are closer to Suna's borders? Gaara asked. Tsunade only then realized what kind of international incident she created. Good thing the other villages aren't aware of this. At least until the spies that ran in to see the fight make it back home, with news of a broken toad sage and a second yellow flash. Velvet Mansion. Naruto crashed onto a couch and felt tired as his skin began to go pale from the loss of blood. Naruto, stay with us. Please stay awake. Don't close your eyes just yet. Naruto smiled. All I wanted was a family, friends, and acknowledgement. I'm glad I have that now, he said before letting the darkness consume him, ignoring the pleas for him to stay conscious. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comment section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.